Jahmyr Gibbs, breakout season, loading.
Inside the 5, Gibbs to the end zone, touchdown!
Woodward Sports, the most dominant Detroit sports coverage around.
Yo, what is going on? It's your boy Braylon Edwards here on Woodward Sports. Excited to be with you here today. Thank you for joining us, because you could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with the crew. Speaking of the crew, my co-host Anson Wells, how are you feeling on this Victory Shade Wednesday, although the Tigers are down currently too? So it's bittersweet, if you will.
I'll feel a lot better when the chat smashes that like button, shares the stream, and gets their super chats in early.
See, the jerseys gone, man. They're a little bit trying to figure out what's the next item. That
Mike Reed hit me up last night.
I would have hit you up too.
He is
where's my jersey? When am I picking up my jersey?
So he's going to be actually meeting up with us, I believe, at probably the watch party, which we have details to come very soon, I promise. Yeah, 100%. For the Aints game. So.
Okay, let's get into the show. Before we do that, got to say what's up to my right hand, Justin Satawa, who has a great show prepared for us today.
Like always.
Excited to jump on and have this conversation with you, as well as B-Lad in the background, Sweet Patata Cam, and Gordo, even here to talk a little bit about the Tigers. Good show for you guys today. We got some sound out of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell extremely excited about the defensive line. He's almost gushing every time he talks about them, but not other positions. We'll talk about that in a second. And also, too, there was some news out of, if you will, just some other stuff. We'll talk about that later. But Dan Campbell, some good sound on that. But before we get into the Lions, we're just going to dominate this conversation today. Let's talk Tigers a little bit, man. Last night, the Detroit Tigers, they get a win. You get a chance to see some of that young talent. Mike Clark goes yard, his second, but technically first home run, because I don't necessarily count whatever the hell they got going out there in Oakland. So first home run for Max Clark in an actual real ballpark. But the Tigers, man, you watched the game yesterday. They're currently down 2-0. What is the big question that everybody wants to know, Gordo? One of you out on the Tigers, and if so, do you send Max Clark back to AAA?
So this was a fun debate that we had yesterday on Woodward Tigers. It was, Neil Rule. He's very good at what he does. He kind of pulled the pin through the grenade in our chat, and
it left.
It definitely blew up. I was kind of on an island fighting for the fact that, listen, I'll give Scott Harris a little bit of credit. He knows how to draft quality players like Kevin McGonigal, like Max Clark. And taking 2 weeks off of the end of the season to go back down to Toledo when, going into the following season, you should have a spot locked down. And this offseason, you're probably going to get a contract negotiation. If they treat Max Clark anything like they did Kevin McGonigal, and they, give him the bag, lock him up early, I think Max Clark would not be very offended by going down to Toledo for the last 2 weeks to retain his ability to get Rookie of the Year next season, and that would also give him a little bit more flexibility in that contract, in that deal, because that would give him the ability to reach free agency a year earlier, which I'm sure that he would not be opposed to. So I understand it on an emotional level where, you can't send him down. He's been great. He's been okay. He's been a league average bat. We haven't necessarily seen the composure of, like the at-bat presence, the eye for the zone. Hasn't been let loose on the base paths either. A lot of the things that we saw about Max Clark, going into, when he was brought up here, right, we haven't quite seen yet. Listen, I'm not a Max Clark hater. I think he can be a fantastic player, but this is not as terrible as a move as everybody wants to act like it is. Like this season, I'm sorry guys, they're not making the playoffs. I know that should not be as controversial of a statement as
not today.
Right? As I feel like it is, or at least as the chat makes me feel like it is. But you know what? It is what it is. This team, we have to be realistic with where they're at.
Yeah, Max Clark, 85 at-bats, 21 hits, 2 home runs, and he's currently batting .247 for the season. It feels a bit like 2024, if you will, Anson. I think in 2024, legitimately, the Tigers, Chris Ilitch, Scott Harris, they said, look, man, season's over. Throw all the young guys out there, see what you have, get the ball rolling, and they actually turned that thing around. They did something that had never been done before, and it surprised the hell out of everybody involved, including me and including that organization. This feels like a similar year where you understand at this point it's probably not going to happen for you. But what does that mean as it relates to Max Clark for you?
Well, for me, the move is to send him down. I think that you play your way through this week. up against Tampa Bay right now, hell of a ball club, and then you got the Dodgers this weekend. So 2 major tests. If this team somehow comes out winning both of these series, this is a debate that you still have to kind of entertain. If they do what we expect them to do and maybe win 2 games at best, you send him down. It's the team control, and you have an opportunity on both sides. He gets to maybe win that award. Now, the likelihood of him actually coming and doing it is not great. Now, in his head, I know he's a very confident guy. Maybe that entices him, but ultimately, this will give the Tigers an extra year before they have to go to the arbitration table.
Yeah, and just real quick, too,
go ahead.
You can still wait till, there's 2 weeks left in the season, about September
you got a lot of
8th
time.
to 12th to send him down. I would literally wait right until he hits 129 at-bats, and then all right, Max, nothing personal. We're going to send you back down for a couple
That conversation's already been had.
I would hope so. Because it doesn't seem like as crazy of a conversation that, I've been made to feel that
it's had with every prospect that comes up.
Right.
No matter, unless you're lighting the world on fire and your team is in the thick of it, it's a conversation that's had. It's on the call-up and every single day, or at least every week while you're up. And especially this situation where it's into the media at this point. This isn't something that they're not going to address. And Chad, I love you guys, but if you may be against it, but to think that these guys are going to ignore the elephant in the room and not let him know some idea of what they plan to do with him in the situation where they find themselves 10 games out of the wild card, which could happen after this week. So that's something that has been addressed. It's been discussed. He knows the deal. Everybody in the minor leagues knows the deal. This is business now.
Yeah,
he does too. And at the end of the day, this is a new age athlete. The athlete's bottom dollar is what you most care about. 100%. And the bottom dollar for Max Clark will be able to get to September, get right up underneath it, like you said, 129 games or so, and then take yourself back down to AAA, because it's just not going to happen for the Tigers, unfortunately, this year. They put themselves too far in the hole, and they've had to play battle back and
Don't
forth.
Don't count them out, though.
Back and
forth.
Don't
watch them shock the world this week. Don't sleep, because it's just it's in their character.
The reason why I say I disagree this time around, man, and I was actually on 2 weeks ago, but the reason why I disagree this time around is because we've been playing this game now for the last 3 months.
All year.
We've been playing this game for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's like, they're 3 games, they're 3 games back. They're 3 games, they're 3 games back. They're 3.5, they're only 5, they're back. We've been playing this teeter-totter the whole season. Now you're getting to the point. You're running out of games, you're running out of time, and you're running out of chances to get momentum. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. I think the people are over it. It's like we haven't talked about him for about 2 weeks because of it. We left here thinking that we had a White Sox sweep in Detroit, and this thing was going to look completely different. We're going to be sitting on top of the division, or at least a half game back. We were going to get 2 of those games, Gordon. That was going to happen, and then it didn't, and then they kept sliding and looking really bad in that slide. There's not much hope right now, but you've got to see through this week, and to Gordon's point, you've got weeks still before you send him down. But ultimately, for him, the amount of stats that he can accrue before he actually gets to arbitration versus losing that year and not having that production, this will probably help him in the end. But the Tigers get that 1 extra cheaper year.
Well, you know what? Everybody may be out on the Tigers, but a team that everybody's definitely in on is the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell's extremely excited. I would say excited. I think excited is the fair word. When you see him at the podium, when he's giving a presser, and he's talking about the defensive line on that side of the ball, he's got a different little pep in the step these days, man. Dan Campbell, he's excited. We should be excited, too, about this defensive line. Here's Dan Campbell talking about the defense and that defensive line.
Camp started, you said you thought the offensive line would be improved and not just by a little bit. Can you say that about the defense now, what you've seen so far, that it will be improved and, I don't know, by a little bit, by a lot bit? Have you seen enough?
I feel really good with where our D-line is at right now, and really that front 7. I feel that group of guys plus bench, plus the bench. I feel really good, man. I feel like it's a good group. It's a versatile group. It's there's depth in there. There's pieces. You can ask them to do different jobs. And so, yeah, you're asking me right now. I feel really good about it. But I've been watching these guys now. We've been in camp for I don't know how many days. But, hey, till we get in a real game that really counts, real minutes, that'll be our first, New Orleans will be our first big barometer. That's when we'll really know where we're at. And one way or another, you're humming pretty good, but you still got growth to go. So I like where we're at.
Line, are you speaking pass rush as much as anything?
I'm speaking all of it. I'm speaking the run game. I'm speaking pressure. Pass game. All of it. To me, that's what D-line is, man. You play all of it. It's like O-line, man. You got to pass protect and you got to run block, you know. We can't ask one of these guys to come in like, okay, you're good at run blocking as a left guard. Now get out for pass pro. Get in there. You know, and yeah, you can do a little bit if you know you got them in pass downs. I'm talking about our D-line. Hey, we got them in third and 12. Then, yeah, you can bring in a little faster group. But at the end of the day, these guys got to be able to do everything.
Vets in the front seven, we haven't asked a lot about.
Yeah, that's that Dan Campbell I like to see. That's that Dan Campbell you want to see at the podium. You see he was calm. See the back was straight. Had a little smile, a little pep in his step. You see the hands were in the pocket. He wasn't all over the place like Ricky Bobby. That is the Dan Campbell I like to see. Who knew that it would be Dan talking about his defensive line that would get him most excited during training camp so far? But he's absolutely right. He wants his guys to be able to get to the passer. He wants to be able to get to the passer, whether it's in the defensive middle, whether it's on the outside. He wants guys that can rush and stop the run as well, man. He's getting excited. Is it safe to say, Juice, that he's extremely excited because of what the indeficiencies are in the secondary? Now that he's got these guys up front, now that there's some depth, now that there's some more names, and you got a linebacking core that we'll get to talk about a little bit later, feel some confidence that you can protect maybe what that secondary is.
Absolutely. I mean, in the NFL, the only way to hide a bad secondary is by having a great pass rush.
Yeah.
And when you have the versatile options that we have, where it looks like we're going to have multiple guys coming from multiple different positions, even if the interior works out as well, like Aleem McNeil in 2024, very good pass rusher as well. So we could be looking at a very good defensive line, and that is what I'm going to hang my hat on, because obviously the secondary is got some wily vets, you know. They got some nice pieces out there, but there's nothing special until Kirby and Branch comes back. And until they do, you are trusting that your defensive line can wreak enough havoc in the pass game to help out these older like not elite guys, where they're not going to be put on islands for too much time and being able to be picked apart, where they're going to be constantly putting pressure and hopefully not being last in time to throw. Is that the stat? Or time?
There you go.
Yeah, time to throw in the league
Pass
where we were
rush
last.
win rate.
Pass rush win rate?
No,
yeah,
tongue
sounds
twister.
Sounds like a bunch of made-up stats, but either way, we need to get to the quarterback quicker,
PFF-ish.
and that's where I think that this pass rush is going to be a lot better than last year, where you're not going to see Jordan Love sitting back there in the pocket hitting the old.
Taking his sweet ass time, pull his phone up, text somebody, hey, this is what's going on after the game. This is what I'm thinking about doing. Make sure you got this movie teed up. Nice would be a little bit too relative a word for that secondary, but I get exactly where you're going. I think one of the things, B-Lad, that he enjoys about this defensive line, as we stay talking about that, it's just the different types of players. There's not a mold, if you will. There's smaller defensive linemen that have speed, like Skylar Howard, and like Aleem McNeil is sized down to. There's a bigger guy in the middle, like Talik Williams. You have Peyton Turner on the outside, longer range, kind of like DJ Wonham. You also have the smaller, powerful guy. It's so much different flair on that defensive line. It just makes him nervous about cut day.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit here and act like what we're seeing right now is what we're going to be seeing in the middle of the season. Like, this is something that obviously it all has to do with progression. He likes where the progression is going, and I think they're using the D-line differently this year. Like we said earlier before, we need Kelvin Shepherd to adjust on what he's doing. You know, more of the 4-2-5, more of the rush 4 and drop 7. I feel like Dan Campbell likes the depth a lot more as well. But yeah, it's just as of right now, and I love the words that he said. He's like, what we're gonna see during the season is what is going to determine what we're going to do defensively. Right now, it's obviously still early, and I don't want to sell to you guys that what we're gonna see right now is what we're gonna see in the middle of the season. It's gonna change, but it's a lot better of a tone from him than last year. Last year, you could tell that he was concerned about the D-line. He even talked about it the whole season long. We need a pass rush. We need some presence in the front 4. He said that all season long last year. His tone's a lot different, which makes me lean to the side like, this is actually going to be something that we see improving.
Yeah, he doesn't think this is the greatest D-line since, the Steelers in the 70s. But what he thinks is this team is in shape. This team is ready. There are multiple players. And he sees, you know what, I see what this growth and progression can be over the first 5 games of the season and leading into the season. And so how much of it is guys being in shape too? How much of this guys being in shape? Because Talik Williams, Aleem were not in shape last year. It is not much you can do with 2 guys that can't move. This year, both guys come in underweight. They look good. And now you also have the guys on the outside and Kelvin Shepherd's kind of new stance on it. That in shape is key.
Well, the in shape and health is absolutely one of the big things.
Yeah, you're right.
And those two go hand in hand. Tyleek was overweight from what he wanted to be at. So you can call that getting healthy and getting where he's at the 285.
It's mental health.
Exactly, that
Correct.
too.
Habits.
So instead of 335, we got a 285 twitchy guy there. Aleem, Hutch, both those guys are coming back from major injuries last year, just didn't have the full confidence or health. But Dan Campbell said something. He said it's all of it, man. What are you just excited about the pressure on the quarterback? He's like, no, it's all of it. And it's the versatility, it's also the health, and it's the depth. And the fact is that the defensive line has been the focus and conversation of Lions fans in this city for years now. But the tone has completely flipped to 180 because before we weren't good, at least we thought, and then we got Brad Holmes telling us we are good, and then we just get the stat from you guys. We weren't good at all. We were, in fact, the worst in the league in terms of, shortening up the time of the quarterback.
Win rate, yeah.
So now that's completely flipped. And to Braylon, your point, his energy, boy, I missed it. Because I haven't seen him look like this in quite a long time.
Probably his whole tenure.
And it's very authentic. Yeah. It's real energy because the fact is you have the deepest defensive line here with the most different and versatile types of players along that line. We talked about it yesterday. It was just a mauling defensive line that they didn't maul much. They just didn't have a lot of ability but to try and push. These guys can do all of it. Like the Skylar Gill Howard kid is such a great example of a guy that is going to get time, not a lot of it, but a guy that when he gets out there, he's going to flash, like Derek Moore as he grows into the slam. Yeah, I'm as excited as he is.
And that's the thing, too, as it relates to defensive line before we switch gears because of how good the defensive line can be, another position will be good as well. But I think it's also, too, the last 4 years, you're looking for a guy opposite Aiden to be the guy to go in and get the quarterback, whether it's El Qadim Muhammad, whether it was James Houston IV. Like, you're looking for that guy. Well, now you have multiple guys that can rush the passer in multiple ways. Derek Moore, he gets into the backfield in a different way. DJ Wonnum is getting to the backfield in a different way. Ahmed Hassanin is getting to the backfield in a different way. And you also have the guys in the middle. Speaking of guys in the middle, the linebacking core. Switching to a 4-2-5. We assume that Devin White will take over in that role. And we assume that Jack Campbell will take over and do what he did last year at a higher level. What would you rank them in linebacker cores? Because PFF came out with a ranking, top 10 linebacker cores in the league. This is a space where the Lions have not been in a very long time, and maybe they're not on the list now. Where would you rank the Lions linebacker core with White and Campbell?
Now, see, obviously Campbell being a top 3 guy, you got to put him in the upper half. But the supporting cast around him, man, I wouldn't have put him much more than 16 or 15. I still don't know how much a part of this defense Devin White is going to be. I believe he's going to be a big part of it, which I believe is a big upgrade. That wouldn't have put me past 12. Now, I know where they sit.
Okay.
But 12 to me, I think is maybe a little optimistic, but also fair.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's not beat around the bush. Throw them up there if you will, Justin. I'm going to come to you. This is where PFF has the Detroit Lions. They have them sitting 8th.
Sitting pretty.
4 spots higher than what you said they would be. They got the Carolina Panthers sitting at 10, the Baltimore Ravens sitting at 9, which is interesting considering they still have Roquan Smith there. But the Detroit Lions come in at number 8. And before we go through the rest of this list, Justin, where are you considering this list? 8th, Detroit Lions. Devin White, who isn't even named the starter yet. Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Derek Barnes. Is this deserving?
I think so. I mean, I think that when they added Devin White in there, and I think the way that he's performed in the preseason, obviously it's the preseason, but you have a top 5 guy. Like, you have a legitimate, top tier echelon linebacker in Jack Campbell, and that plays on this list. It's not just like something that you can wash over where a lot of these other teams, they don't have a great lead linebacker other than those top 4 teams. Like, And yeah, TJ Edwards is solid, but I wouldn't put him in the top tier of linebackers in the NFL. And so that's where I really think that where Jack Campbell's ability is just at the top. And then Devin White, I think, is the perfect complementary piece where a lot of these rooms are just a bunch of really solid guys. I think you have an elite guy and a guy who at least can give you floor, top 20 outside linebacking play in terms of the will position.
Yeah, here's your top as it relates to the names. You look at the 49ers up there, Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Tatum Bethune. The Seattle Seahawks, they're in there. Ernest Jones, Drake Thomas. Philadelphia Eagles, Zach Bond, as well as Nakobe Dean, and Chicago Bears, TJ Edwards, Devin Bush, DeMarco Jackson. Sticking with the Lions for a second, B-Lad. Sticking with this.
Yeah, see, like the Bears real quick. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, B. Like,
go ahead.
They're very similar to the Lions in where they have a speedy will in terms of Devin Bush.
Devin Bush.
Shout out UL. And shout out Michigan, one of my favorite linebackers to ever play at Michigan.
And him stumping on Michigan State's field and then going there to getting the win, like that was
and
it was a moment because Michigan State, they brought it upon themselves. They started the little walk they do, the arm in arms. They started it early. They weren't supposed to start
heaven forbid some unity.
No, I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping. No one's tripping. But what they did was some bullshit, and they got ran up in some bullshit. So, but realistically, though, go ahead.
But yeah, it's a very similar setup to
they handled it in the tunnel,
the Detroit
though.
Lions, and you have TJ Edwards, who I think all of us.
Yeah, they still handled it in the tunnel, though.
Oh my lord, you guys!
When the last time y'all beat Michigan? Like
I don't know. In the tunnel.
Y'all didn't win in the tunnel. You don't even know what happened in the tunnel. You don't even watch Michigan State football. You just like to talk stuff about Michigan State football.
You started it, man.
I mean, I wouldn't watch Michigan State football either.
But getting back to it, they're very similar in terms of the speedy will and the guy that can get in there. That's what you were talking about.
Yes, exactly. And I think we all can agree that Jack Campbell is a better linebacker than TJ Edwards. But in terms of when you're looking at the will position, Devin Bush is a little bit better than Devin White. And that's why
Get out of here, Kool-Aid, with that crap.
Yeah, I mean, it just made sense to put Paul Bunyan up there. You can look at the back because the scores are on there. B-Lad, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
We keep asking about the fairness of it because legitimately the Detroit Lions were nowhere in the stratosphere. They land Devin White, and now they jump to 8. I love Devin White. But as much as I love Devin White, let me bring you some of the facts. Anson, you point him out when we signed him. Devin White, where does he struggle? He struggles in coverage. Jack Campbell, where does he struggle at times as a linebacker? Struggling in coverage. Derek Barnes, do I even need to bring up the highlight tape that was in the New York Giants game? They struggle a little bit in the passing game. With that being said, should they still be 8th with that?
I mean, yeah. Like, the thing is about that is Jack Campbell's all-pro. We just re-signed him. He's the probably top 3 linebacker in the NFL, like Anson said. And
I saw a list
Devin
where they
White
had him 7th or 6th.
As a core or him in general?
No, him in general.
I mean, that's a prove it one more year.
Yeah, right? it's all subjective. Yeah. And the thing is about this, too, is, like, Devin White was good with the Raiders on a bad Raiders defense. And he led the team in tackles. Like, you just can't escape those numbers. And numbers don't lie. Like, pairing them together would be good. Now, my biggest concern, yes, is the pass coverage because we saw how we lacked about that last year, and especially with a thin third row in the defense as far as outside or perimeter defense and safeties go. That only adds to my concern a little bit. But I mean, as far as like production goes, I feel like that's a pretty fair number for them. Now, I would probably like if you were to just throw it off the top of my head, I would have probably put him at 10. But I mean, this list right here is actually pretty accurate, I think I would say, because the New York Jets put a whole lot of money, and the Dolphins actually both, even though it doesn't seem like they're all that good, put a lot of money in their linebacking crew. So you're kind of going up against those high-paying guys.
What I like about the list for the Lions' sake, and just looking at where the Lions are and looking at how the Lions are put together, is most of these teams on here, whether it's the 49ers, the Eagles, the Texans, the Seahawks, the Bears, like they are legitimately damn good defenses. Right. Damn good defenses that basically keep their offense in the game. Yeah. You keep an offense around as good enough, they become a better offense. If you keep Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold involved, eventually Sam Darnold, K9, they will beat you. I know he was in Kansas City now. I'm talking about last year with Jackson.
No, for sure.
Same thing with the Eagles. You let them hang around long enough. Jalen Hurts will figure it out with Dallas Goedert. So the Lions are the only one whose offense is dominant. Yes. So if that doggone defense, can that defensive line be what we're talking about? If you Devin White and he comes along and they figure it out on that defense, if that defense can become what people are thinking they can at the defensive line, man, that job becomes a lot easier for that offense.
It definitely can too, because you can make the argument that injury screwed us on defense the last couple of years. You can, like, as far as like the personnel drop off, like the skill level drop
Kirby
off.
Joseph, Aiden Hutchinson,
It's
and
a
Lee
huge
McNeil.
drop off,
That's
and
tough.
like all the time I see it on Twitter, and I'm pretty active on Twitter, and people often talk about and make that side of the argument that if it wasn't for the injuries, we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't have missed the playoffs last year. We would have won the playoff game against the Commanders 2 years ago if it wasn't for Meek Robertson breaking his arm and Lee McNeil tearing his ACL against the Buffalo Bills earlier on in the season. Like, you can make that case with a full healthy offense, especially with your one Pro Bowl and one All-Pro safety. The only thing that you would really be lacking in a sense would be corner. But those players are good enough to make up for their struggles. But that's the thing. A fully healthy defense, they should realistically be in a good position for that elite offense because we have weapons all over the field. And that's the one thing is, like, I know I was very down on the Lions earlier on in this offseason, but there really is no middle ground. I feel like people are either, we're going 15-2 again, or we're missing the playoffs 8-9 again because the division's too hard. In my personal opinion, fully healthy defense, especially with some of the holes that we are lacking in right now, there is a middle ground there. But at least as far as like the fan base goes, what I see from a third, obviously I'm a fan. I look at that and it feels like there's really no middle ground. But you can make a case of the argument that the injuries really did screw our chances in the last 2 years.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
They did at major positions, and also too it halted the progression of those players. You're talking about Aiden Hutchinson. Look at what he was doing in 2024. Look at the projection that he was on. Look at what he was about to do, and now it's halted. Now he has to come back. Now he has to use 2025 to get back on track. Lee McNeil, same thing. Pay him 2024. Now at the end of the season,
Kirby.
2 seasons after he hurt, he's injured. Now he's a bigger guy that's injured. It takes bigger guys longer to come back. They have to deal with that process. Now you saw with same thing with Kirby and same thing with Brian Brandt. So there's not been 2 seasons where they've been collectively, rhythmically putting it together back to back, game after game, week after week, and going into the offseason healthy. Like, that is a real thing. Whether people want to take it as an excuse or not, it's true.
It is true.
Tammy Chin Wings fan in the chat.
Tammy, what's up?
Did you see that flash in the background? Braylon still's got that speed.
light on my toes. You really have to be light on your toes in the studio too, because the floor creaks a little bit. So I'm trying.
It's an old floor.
I'm not trying to have it creak as you guys are doing your thing, if you will.
So let me ask you this.
Shout out to the Jets. You see the Jets in there. You see the Jets. They may suck on offense outside of Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, but damn it, that defense is always going to be good.
Garrett Wilson's so good, man.
So if you take Devin White off this team, if they don't make that signing, where do you rank?
Yeah, I don't know if
the linebacker core. Oh man, like 18th.
Yeah.
Like I told you, before they even signed him, I was not a fan of Derek Barnes. I think there's some growth to do. Even when you listen to Dan Campbell talk about the pressers, he says, yeah, he flashes. He shows at times, but he's got to consistently do the things between the ears. This is what he says about Derek Barnes. Malcolm Rodriguez. I like Rodriguez. Love him a lot. Yeah. 100%. He makes plays from time to time. But if you're talking about this is going to be the guy that's starting in my 4-3 that I believe in is going to go out there and make plays for 18 weeks, including the playoffs, I didn't necessarily feel that way. So Devin White was a huge addition as it relates to this. And now when you listen to him talking about the defensive line, talking about what he's seeing show, talking about what he's seeing flash, that and then your second level is that linebacker core, it just sounds a lot better, especially for a team whose offensive line is a consistent question, which even Dan sounded like when we get to.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a good offensive line and a player with the profile of a Derek Barnes or a Malcolm Rodriguez, they're your weakest link. Yeah. You can't have 2 of them. And with all respect to both those guys, they do things differently. They're not great at one thing. So they're going to get mixed and matched in the 4-3 sets. Fact is neither of them I see on the field for the majority of the 5-2 sets. And
just listen to the linebacker core before Devin White comes in, as is described. 1, All-Pro, Jack Campbell, boom. Then there's Jimmy Roder. That's the next guy you talk about. Got good news out of him coming out of Campbell. When they drafted him in the 4th round, pretty much the majority of individuals did what?
Yeah.
This one?
Who?
That was a thought. Damone Clark, you pick him off. Just a free agent that has some depth. Guess what? He's hurt. He's on the IL. And Derek Barnes haven't had necessarily the best comments out of Dan Campbell about his training camp so far in Rodrigo. That's your linebacker core without Devin White.
Yeah, and I think that the Roder injury inspired. It was the catalyst to go out and get Devin White, and that's probably the best blessing in disguise that the Lions could get. Because I know a lot of Wolverine fans, and even me just as a Lions fan, I like what Jimmy Roller can bring to this team. So seeing him going down, getting that news, you're a little worried, like, just another rookie that, like last year with Hassanin, you're excited about him, and then you don't get any of him. But this is a situation where, because they know that he's going to be out for a month or two, you press the button, you make the call, and you get Devin White in here. And all of a sudden, if you're running that nickel set and you've got Devin White and Jack Campbell out there, your linebacker core got even better because it's just those two guys. But I do really hope, I'm going to keep hitting this over and over, I hope those first 2 months we see more 4-3. It's going to help save our secondary.
I will tell you this, it's got to be a blessing. It's got to be a blessing when you're Houston Texans and you're looking at your defense at every single level is in the top 5.
Yeah.
Their secondary is in the top 5.
They invested
Their defensive line is in the top 3. Their linebacking core is in the top 3. Toto and Algiers, woo-wee.
Yeah, they are so good over there, man. And they're deep, too. That's the thing.
CJ Stroud, he can look like that from game to game when the defense is like that.
It's different when your defense is elite all around and the starters, but if once you have 2 and 3 guys that can be starters on other teams, it's funny.
But you know what?
They invested in it, and they got it.
We will get there. Anson, super chats,
yeah,
comments.
This one kind of finishes things up with the defense. I'm not fully – I kind of agree with Dante here with the $5 super chat. He says, and to be honest, our defense kept us in that Eagles game last season. We just didn't feed Jamo and Gibbs more in the passing game in that game. There was flashes. The defense showed times, especially early on in the season, that they could be really good. They got to stay healthy.
See, this is what we're not going to do. Okay, we're going to leave last year, and we're going to call everybody accountable. The defense did not keep you in that Philadelphia Eagles game. Bad quarterback play and the weather kept you in that Eagles game. Jalen Hurts was abominable and not a snowman, and the weather was almost abominable snowman-like. So no.
Dante.
That was that weather, and that was Jalen Hurts. He had one of his bad games last season.
Screw you, Rock Ya-Sin. Actually, that wasn't Rock Ya-Sin's
It wasn't
fault.
Rock Ya-Sin.
That was a bad call.
It was. But anyway, Anson, tell us about Supreme Linden.
I can do that,
and
man.
then let us know about these.
Hey,
Let us know.
It's summer's coming to an end. Home buying season might be coming to an end, but you still need to know what your prospects are. Maybe you just want to refinance your home. Chad and Chris and Christina at Supreme Lending are standing by, waiting for your call. These guys are the experts, and they will take you from start to finish, from beginning to close. And hopefully, if you call them early in the process, they can even improve your status so you can get one of the best loan programs available. They do have 0% down payment programs, and we can save you up to $500 off of your home appraisal merely by mentioning Woodward Sports, because we sent you. So get on the horn and give Supreme Lending a call today.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Yo, what's up, everybody? If you're looking to take your relaxation to the next level, you got to check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills. Be sure to visit Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc and creator of the #1 YouTube channel for massage chair reviews at the Wellness Doc. They carry top brands like Infinity Osaki. Book your visit today at massagechairhouse.com or simply scan the QR code on your screen. Massage Chair House, ultimate ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation. Oh my goodness, I botched that. What's up, Anson?
Hey, buddy. Listen, Mortgage Pros will never botch a thing.
Yeah.
And they want you to work for them, guys. These are the #1 mortgage brokers in the state of Michigan, and they want you. 248-416-1361. You can call them and find out more, or visit mtgopros.com and find out more that way. You saw us out at that annual block party of theirs. Amazing employee culture. My friends that do work there, it has literally changed their lives. I've watched it happen, and they want to help you do the same. Give them a call today, Matt, Mortgage Pros.
And we are back. I hope, as Juice is getting us hyped, getting us excited as he's sitting back in the seat, I hope you guys went and watched the Vince Young documentary on Untold. Had a chance to check it out last night. We'll talk about it at the end of the show, save some time, curve out of space, and get to it a little bit. I wasn't overly impressed with the doc, but before we get into it, I will say this. He looked the same at every single level. And what I mean by that, he is an athletic, physical specimen, because how he looked in high school is how he looked at Texas, which is how he looked at the Tennessee Titans for the first year when he was a Pro Bowler. We'll get to that at the end of the show.
I didn't watch it, B. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. You know,
I did get a foul ball though from yesterday's Tigers game. So
you caught it?
Yep.
Or did it come on the ground?
You
Did you catch it in the air?
You got to lead with that. We talked about Tigers. You didn't even mention
Off the bounce. That's still solid.
Would you catch it? Would you have a glove? Did you catch it with your hat? Bare hand?
Did it bounce off of people, or did it bounce off of a part of the structure?
Part of the structure.
Ooh, nice.
Who's back?
Nice grab.
Valencia.
Okay.
All right.
How many? Because I already know the answer. Is you have how many?
How many
foul balls or a type of at a ball game?
Of my own?
Yeah. You ever shagged the ball?
My old man gave me one when I in the '84 season before the playoffs. I never caught one myself. We had a real good shot at one. Went out right off my old man. And he didn't drop the beers. He was pissed.
Sweet Potato Cam, you ever got one? B-Lad?
Never have. Never.
You can see
have a bunch, it sounds like.
You see Valencia's bat mark, if I can get to focus.
There you go.
It's the smudge right there on the
smudge.
Solid.
Right there.
It's not bad.
This is.
Did you have to compete for it?
No.
There's nobody around?
I will say we have a very nice usher in our season ticket seats, but she did ask me. She was like, "Oh, like there's this kid in the section who's from Midland," and she tried to guilt trip it to give it to him. And look, I'm a nice guy, and I have given kids plenty of balls. Like the last couple I've gotten, Justin. I have given 2 kids, but if they either my rule is I have to have a conversation with them, I have to be in the section with them, or they need to be invisible distance of me. And there was none of those 3, so I don't feel bad about telling her no, because I'm not just gonna give it to some random kid just to give it to a random kid. If you catch a foul ball, you should be able to keep it within reason. All right, I'm for giving it to kids, but at the same time, there is a within reason here.
Well, look, Justin's 23, 24 himself. He's still a kid, so I get those. And per your description, I don't have a problem with that. If you bring some kid at Justin's age, ladies and gentlemen, if you bring some kid from across the stadium and say, "Hey, look, you caught that foul ball, can he have it?" Absolutely not, man. Get out of here. You shouldn't have walked over here. You should have just gave him a ball yourself. Me, I couldn't do that though. Like me, nah. 'Cause it'd be like, "What? Did you see what Braylon Edwards said? That blah 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 blah." So if I get a ball, I'm giving it away. Now, home run ball, that might be different. Like a foul ball, you can have it. A home run, I gotta be.
You know what? I forgot. I was at a game by the Texas Rangers. What is that? The bullpen, and it was my birthday, and some people were telling me, and they signed like 3 or 4. One of the guys was a Japanese reliever, so he signed in Japanese.
Okay,
that's
I forgot about that.
That's fire.
It's like 3 or 4 just no name relievers from the Rangers, but I never caught one. That to me that's a bucket list item. I don't go to enough ball games though.
It is a bucket list item. So maybe before the season's over, you have one.
I want to go to dog night, but I don't think they hit balls up that way.
That was yesterday.
Well, they got 2 more, I heard. They do. One in September.
Oh, they have 2 more? Okay.
At least one in September. I know that.
It'd be a little better for your dog, too.
100.
Oh, it's hot. It was like 82 yesterday.
Yeah, she wouldn't have loved that. There's no cover in the dog? Where they put you up in the bleachers?
Yeah, you're in the 300 level. What do you think this is? You think they just let them, roll down
No.
the suites and shit on the carpet?
Hell no.
People are so weird about dogs.
Anyway, speaking of dogs, Dan Campbell has some dogs on that defensive line, and he's got some competition brewing, man. He's excited about the competition, not just about the defense. Here's Dan Campbell talking about the competition as camp winds down.
Ooh. Man, look, the D-line room is that one is, that can go any way right now. It really can. There's a number of guys in there. The hard thing is you can't keep all those guys. You just can't. Not without it hurting the rest of your roster. And there's some good players in there. And there's some veterans. There's some young guys. There's raw talent. There's things in there that you really like. And that thing is up in the air right now in a number of spots. That's probably the most significant. Back into the old line is always going to be up, and that there might not. I say that there's a chance that player's not even here yet either. So it's not just here; it's also with the other 31 teams. That's a competition right now with somebody that might not even be in the building. Those are big. Receivers still back into that receiver room is still pretty big right now. So, look, there's still spots available. It's interesting. The D-line room is the most interesting. It's just top to bottom. There's a ton of good players in there, we feel like.
Boy, you can't get him to stop talking about the defensive line.
Nah,
he will not talk about the defensive line. He talked about the defensive line. He got excited talking about the defensive line. Then he mentioned the offense in the blur, mentioned the wide receiver current in the blur, and went back to talking about that defensive line. We just talked about the defensive line. So let's talk about the offense. 2 different Dan Campbells were at that podium. There was a Dan Campbell talking about the defensive line, and there was a Dan Campbell talking about the offensive line. And if you pay attention to one of the comments, he said, and there's a fight, there's open spaces, and somebody that you compete with may not be in the room, which means they may not even be on the team right now. Hence why they brought in a center yesterday. Dan Campbell's not necessarily happy with where the offensive line is currently. And when you listen to him, the unsureness, that is cause for concern.
It is. No, it sounds like somebody's coming in. They're waiting for cuts. Because they are. That was a very telling statement there.
But okay, Anson, not to cut to, but why?
Because we're most concerned about the offensive line.
But why are we in a space where we're waiting for cuts, knowing what our offensive line was last season?
Because maybe there'll be someone that pops up out of another team.
Well, sure, but he's saying that because why didn't we address it in the offseason? They had the opportunity.
Amigo.
They did. They brought in Juice.
See, that was a setup. He hasn't mentioned Juice. He hasn't been mentioned Juice.
Larry and Juice.
They went out and they got Cade Mays in a very limited center market. They had to get themselves a center, right? We don't have them right now. It's going to be 2 months. They spend their number 1 chip on Blake Miller, so there certainly was attention and capital put towards the offensive line. And then they continued getting Larry Hutch Ruwanam, or however he's Borum, excuse me, and then you've got Juice Scruggs and McLaughlin and a bunch of these names that they're hoping 1 or 2 of these guys can contribute, especially now early on since you don't have Cade Mays. But the fact is there's problems, and we knew that going in even with those additions. Now it's exacerbated by the loss of Mays for a couple of months. I hope that they do make a move. I'm surprised, though, that you didn't hear him. He brought up, the wide receiver competition.
I'm going to get into that in a second.
I would have thought that you would have heard more about maybe the running backs or the secondary, but he kind of briefly glanced on wide receiver. He's concerned about the offensive line. And he's a diplomat, and we see his energy up. He never really says that the sky's falling, but the offensive line needs work. That's all I heard.
Yeah, I'm just not very overly enthused with how he sounded talking about this offensive line room, man. Like, you can't look at what that offensive line was last year, whether it was aging players, the wrong coordinator. I don't want to hear it. The offensive line wasn't good, and here we are in the same similar position. K. Mays gets hurt, you draft Brake Miller. It just feels like they could have done more at the O-line position. I feel like Dan knows that as well, Juice.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm not going to lie. It's getting I think it's going to be pretty rough to start the season. I'm very glad we're not playing any elite defensive tackles off the rip, because that would be very concerning, and I would be immensely scared of that game. You kind of have there's some solid names in there, but nothing too crazy. The center spot, even though that, and we'll hear about this in a second about Juice from Dan, he did look solid in the preseason game, but that is the preseason against a not very good defensive line in general, and so I don't want to really, put too much stock into that. But he might be the best we got, because McLaughlin hasn't looked great either. So I just don't want to put us into a situation where we were in last year, where we were literally had no center, and we're just i.e. Max Brosmer game, where Goff couldn't get the snap before there was a guy in his lap.
I'm just gonna tell you like this: if the Detroit Lions are starting a center on September 10th or 12th, whatever day the opening season is, and they're starting a center that's not even here right now.
Concern.
Yeah,
that's not even here right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And if I'm Jared Goff, I'm pissed. Realistically,
I don't think that they're going to go out and get a starter, to be honest with you. Maybe. I'd love it. But I think that he's talking more around that 7 spot on that offensive line. I mean, we know what a worry the left A gap is. But at the same point, you got Panay moving back to a position that he thrived at but hasn't been at for a while, and you have to keep Jared Goff upright. So even that B gap between the guard and the tackle on the left side, if you've got somebody that's a real problem, and Mahogany could prove to be a real problem 1 or 2 weeks into the season. Frazier could be a problem 1 or 2 weeks into the season. So I think that we're talking about that 7th guy, where maybe you end up with Juice Scruggs as your starting center, and this guy that ends up being your starting left guard for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe week 5, 6, 7, now you're seeing that guy hop in there that we find somewhere else. Maybe even a guy that finishes the second half of the season. But I don't believe that they'll replace anybody in what they believe is their starting line right now, although Zeitler's still out there.
Yeah, Kevin Zeitler is still out there. Look, Juice Scruggs is the name. Maybe the guy is on the team. Maybe it's Juice Scruggs. Maybe it's McLaughlin. Dan Campbell actually talked about what he saw out of Juice Scruggs. We'll have that when we get back from the break. But right now, let me get a message in from Thrive, if you will, be lad.
Yes, sir. Can do. Most people think energy comes in a 16-ounce can full of sugar and neon-colored liquid. But you know better. It's time to upgrade your game with Thrive Energy Pouches. But this ain't yo daddy's dip, Sweet Potato Cam. This is tobacco-free, nicotine-free, mental powerhouse packing 300 milligrams of clean, smart caffeine. No jitters, no sugar crash, and absolutely zero bloating. Thrive can be found online at dipstop.com. Remember to use promo code WSN for 15% off your entire order, exclusively at all Market Fresh and Market Square locations as well. Thrive, clean energy, zero distractions, and they just flip and work, y'all.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Some days call for light, others lean bold. What about everything in between? All Day IPA, the easy choice for every day. Citrusy, crisp, refreshing. Flavor you can float with. Light on the hops, big on refreshment. One's great. 2, even better. Brewed with you in mind. No shortcuts, no fuss. Big on flavor, never too much. All Day IPA. Hop into easy.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
It's a pizza night. It's a pizza night every night. Let's be honest, guys. And us around here in these Detroit parts, we know that the king of pizza for 80 years is none other than Buddy's Pizza. They originated the Detroit-style deep dish that's taking over the country, and we want to save you 10% off your next $50 order or more. When you head on over to buddyspizza.com, you're going to put in that code you see above my head, that WWS26, Woodward Sports 26. Just do that when you get there, and we're going to save you that $10 off of wings, pizza, salad. They got a lot. Check out their menu at buddyspizza.com. And I know you can see it, and if you can't, you probably should be calling the Aldo Eye Center. Our guy, D-Mac, honestly, walking around here, you can tell he can see better. It's real talk. And he's so happy that he did it. I'm talking about getting LASIK, an 8-minute painless procedure. They've been doing over 30 years worth, 100,000 successful procedures, and the next day, the majority of patients are all left seeing 20/20, guys. They got a website on here somewhere. I'll find it for you because I don't tell you about it often enough. YaldoEyeCenter.com. And then you can also call or text them at 248-553-9800. What that's going to do is get you set up for your free consultation. Listen, this is the Aldo Eye Center. They're the vision experts. They're trusted by Darren McCarty, like I said. And if you've been thinking about it, if you've been wanting to make that change and stop struggling with your eyes, put down the contacts and put down the glasses, then you need to make the call to the Aldo Eye Center. They are the vision experts. LASIK eye surgery, it's in your future, guys. They want to save you thousands off that $19.99 per eye. Just give them a call, 248-553-9800.
What did you think of Juice Scruggs' performance against Washington and just how he's kind of come along over the last week or so as he gets more regular snaps?
Yeah, I liked the exposure that we got. That was really our first exposure. I mean, honestly, he got a couple of reps in practice with pads. I'm talking about, more than a couple, but we'd just gotten him back. So I thought that was, that was good. That was good exposure. I thought yesterday was good. I thought he looked good yesterday, and and there again, he's coming back off of this injury. He's getting familiar with golf and what we're running. He's in control now. He's the guy who's got to make the points, the cadences, all this stuff. So I thought yesterday was good. I can't wait to see him today and tomorrow. I think he's only going to get better and more comfortable with what we're doing.
Seemed like he talked around it a little bit until the end. I mean, at the end, he kind of said, hey, look, he was good today. I want to see him again tomorrow. He's getting more familiar with golf the whole night, but he kind of seemed like he talked around it. They asked about how he looked out there, and he talked about, this is actually his first time out here, his first time getting reps. He was injured, this, that, and that. It seemed like he was talking around. The actual question is, what do you think?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell him now. He's very diplomatic, and he doesn't get too overly excited or down on things.
He's getting that poker hand up.
Yes.
He's getting that poker hand up a little bit.
And you can tell now I got to pay attention because there's something that's not being said right now. So, I agree.
Yeah, you can get that poker hand up a little bit. But it also seems like he wants Juice to be the guy, B-Lad. It seems like when you listen to him, it seems like this is the direction he's leaning. True.
Essentially.
But it seems like they're leaning in. He wants Juice to be the guy. He's not going to come up here and talk about his guy that is going to be the guy when the season starts. Juice will be the guy.
Yeah, he will be the guy. And the thing is my concern from all offseason is now not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is the offensive line. And I've touched on this earlier this week as well. Is we've never recovered from what we had. And you don't realize what you have until it's gone. Like having that elite O-line, having Ragnow, Zeitler in the middle, even Decker when he was healthy and actually, serviceable playing. It's just a big question mark right now. It's obviously, it's very early, and I said this earlier as well. I don't want to sell you that this is what it's going to look like in the middle of the season because it's destined to change. everything in the NFL now. The NFL is too long. The season is so long now. So many things are going to be, different. Like, they're going to make adjustments week to week. But, I mean, as far as him wanting Drew Scruggs to be the guard, yeah. I mean, they traded for him. They acquired him in a trade. And essentially, that's really all they have right now. Miles Frazier, and I'm not going to use preseason to be like the big test, but, I mean, he wasn't even doing that good. Exactly. He's not that good. And, it's a position battle with Mahogany as well. So, I mean, that's the thing. As you can tell it is, but he's probably your best bet.
You look at the players right now as it relates to the David Montgomery trade, if you will. You look at Juice Scruggs trying to figure out what it is. He got injured. Now we're trying to come back, and now he has to be the guy for us. You look at Jimmy Roeder, also is injured. The reason I bring him up, he was the 4th-round pick that we got this year. That's how we drafted Jimmy Roeder. And then you replace him with Isaiah Pacheco, who is also injured. Just wanted to keep a little eye out on all the things that have happened since David Montgomery.
It's actually wild.
Now you look at this offensive line. Penei Sewell is stout. But there's another guy that could be stout for this Detroit Lions team. It's Tate Ratledge. Last year he took a jump towards the end of the season, and he is the right guard. That's why nobody wanted him to move into that center role. Keep growing at right guard for the years of the foreseeable future. Here's Dan Campbell talking about his year 2 right guard.
And Tate's had a really good camp. He really has. I mean, I like where he's at. But now it is the consistency, man. Can you do those little things over and over and over a heck of a lot more than you don't, And that's always going to be for a young player, man. That's the next step in growth. But I think he's had a really good camp, man. I like where he's at.
See, this is good. Coaches don't lie when they talk about camps. When they're talking about somebody having a really good camp, this is not something you'll hear just because it sounds good. It's not something you hear just to give them some motivation and some momentum moving forward into the season. I like this a lot because Tate Ratledge is a player that you really want to get behind, and you saw he finished that year. If he can grow in this right guard position, he can provide that consistency on that side and help out a young Blake Miller.
Yeah, no poker face there, and you talk about consistency.
Lady Gaga.
You look at that consistency, it's not just for this year. It's about a decade of those two holding down the right side. And that's what I need to see. He's going to make some mistakes still again, but he's going to be a little bit of a mentor to the guy to his right in Blake Miller. But this guy, who we can't call the dirtbag anymore, I saw that he cut the mullet. This is correct, right? I think he cut that thing off. But he looked really good to me last year. And as a rookie, you're going to see some mistakes. He's got to cut those down because realistically, those two can keep the right side as strong as the left side is anchored by Penei. If those two play at a high level next to each other, all I want is them together. I want those reps that Dan mentioned. I want those two together all the time. I want them going out to eat. I want them at 7 Mile Nicky's, Coney with J-Mo. I'm telling you, these two guys need to become best friends. They need to room together. They need to travel together.
8 Mile, baby.
I want 10 years of these guys locking down the right side.
Yeah, I guarantee you they're not on 8 Mile. I guarantee you offensive linemen.
You don't think so?
They don't know about the corned beef.
You don't think so? They're at Culver's.
No, they're out in Northville. They're out in Canton. That's typically where the offensive linemen stay to play for the Lions. I know for a fact my brother-in-law played tight end, and that's where everybody stayed back and all such. Just getting back to Tate Ratledge for a second, I'm biased when it comes to players at certain positions for certain conferences. When you talk about defensive ends, I'm a defensive lineman, you know where I'm going. I'm going to the SEC. That's also the same for offensive linemen. Don't get me wrong, there's some good ones in the Big Ten, but they see that SEC speed. They see those interior defensive linemen. They see those outside edge rushes. They know what NFL speed looks like. Juice, given that is the case, how good could Tate Ratledge be? Because I feel like last year we just wanted him to be a solid player. But I feel like now as he's taking strides, now as we're listening to Dan, how good can he be in your opinion?
I mean, I don't know if I agree with your sentiment about the Big Ten and the SEC. I personally go to my skill position players when I go to the SEC these days. But, I mean, hey,
SEC, you're not going to get defensive linemen and defensive ends. You're not going to get rush-ins out of Alabama, Georgia, SEC, and
not exclusively, no. Because,
but as a whole,
they usually come out of like a Texas A&M or a Texas Tech,
which is also SEC. But like, really,
Texas Tech's Big 12.
Texas Tech is Big 12.
Texas A&M was SEC.
Yep.
College football later in the show.
Okay, fine. Like you can get a play or two or here or there, but if you're talking about as a whole, what have you been doing for the last 10 years? You've been going to the SEC for these positions, and if you don't believe me, look at everybody's roster. They are stacked with SEC defensive linemen and outside rushers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact, but
Okay.
it's been – hey, the money's been spreading the wealth. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But Tate,
Fair.
though, I love Tate. And last year, I mean, when you look at his last couple games, like, regardless of how bad the offense looked, like, it was not in Tate Ratledge's fault. Like, he was one of the pillars that was there. That right side was never an issue with him and Penei. And, like, hearing these glowing, like, things from Dan Campbell himself is such a big deal because he's now going out on his own. He now has to be the vet for Blake Miller. He has to lead Blake Miller into battle, and now a new center into battle as well, who also is green. So now, like that, this is all leaning on Tate Ratledge to hold up that whole right side of the offensive line, and he needs to play outstanding. He needs to be a non-negotiable, and I think that he has that ability in him. That's why we drafted him. We always thought he could have been the center of the future, but we're going to see him be the right guard of the future. He's going to be a Pro Bowl level right guard in the future. I think he could challenge to be an all-pro level because he is that good in the run game, and I think he's growing as a pass blocker. But we'll have to wait and see. I think we won't see that until Blake Miller has a little bit of his legs underneath him, as well as we get Cade Mays back. But for now, he has to make sure that he can be that leverage post in that right side of the offensive line for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, as it relates to Tate Ratledge, as it relates to Dan Campbell, you heard a little bit in there. Sometimes you can decipher through some of the conversation. He said this is a really good camp, but he said he has to be consistent. Consistency is key, and I believe that's what Dan Campbell is kind of telling us about all his players. If they can be consistent, there are players that they truly subscribe to and believe in for this team this year.
And there's a natural worry of consistency when you have a first and second year player holding down your whole right side, and then a backup snapping the ball. So there's got to be real legitimate concern in Allen Park, everyone included, for this offensive line. We don't know what it looks like with Penei Sewell. It's looked good, though. That's the deal. It's in the preseason. We know it's not high-end competition, but they moved the rock. The running game looked good. Obviously, it's going to be a different story when we have a less mobile Jared Goff back there, but we also get Penei in there. So I have high hopes for these two. I just think that Lions fans need to be patient because it's a first and second year guy holding down your whole right flank.
Yeah, you know, it's, we were having this conversation the other day. We were talking about Dan Campbell. I think we were just talking about the practices, how hard they're practicing, if you will. Roger McCreary, new cornerback, nickelback, linebacker, however you want to describe him, Viper, if you will, in this 4-2-5 system. He talked about the Lions practice not being necessarily the same as a place he comes from.
I would say it was a little bit different, had to adjust to the coaching style and the practice. Like I said, they practice hard, and this is one of the tough practices, I'm not going to lie. So it was just me by adjusting to that and just the type of coach that Shep is. He's a guy who played the game, so he going to give you that tough love. He going to argue, he going to cuss you out, do all that. But he just want to see you be great. That's why I see you on the back end. So it's just all about me being coachable, but just going out there and just play.
Shout out to Brad Galley for that clip. We appreciate that. It seems as these teams practice hard, and teams come in. It seems like the Lions, they practice hard. They practice different from a lot of teams. Every time we get a free agent, we'll get one that has a conversation similar to this. I remember Tim Patrick when he was talking about the differences in practice. I remember when Juwan Jennings was talking about the difference in practice. I remember, oh my God, who was it last year? He was talking about the difference in practice. The Lions, they go after it, and they go get it. And to be honest, they should go after it, and they should go get it because they're trying to figure out who the hell is going to play. They still have open competition that'll lock key points for this season. So Roger McCreary talking about, they getting after it. I am not surprised because you are in a space where you need to for this season.
And to be fair, all 32 teams should be getting after it in practice, but not all 32 teams have the culture and belief for all the players to buy into that type of practice. Because you'll hear guys complain about practices when things aren't right with the team. They're gladiators out in Allen Park. Every practice day, we've been hearing for years that they go after it, but the players are bought in. You're not hearing Roger complain. You're hearing him embrace.
I wonder what last year would have sounded like, how Roger McCreary would have did that interview. Because I feel like last year was the only year they eased up off the brakes a little bit as it relates to practice, as it relates to what they were doing, as it relates to the care. 15-2 lets you do a lot. You get comfortable and you get complacent. I think this year they took it up a notch, and this is Dan Campbell talking about getting back to 2022, in which we saw on Hard Knocks. All right, cool. We'll take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll have some fun, if you will. We got NFC odds. Who are the teams favored to win their divisions? Also, I got NFC tiers. based on that, I have my top 4 tiers for NFC teams. Where do the Lions sit? We'll have more when we get back, but first let me tell you about Icon Auto Collision and Repair. Trust the icons that we trust at Woodward Sports. If you've been in an accident or your vehicle needs repairs, make sure you trust the team at Icon Auto Repair and Collision. The best thing about them, they are a one-stop shop, because when you come here, they offer free car loaners, they offer to pay the deductible, and of course, they're going to make sure that your whip, your car, your bill, whatever you call it, is nice, relaxed, and brought back to you exactly as you bought it when you left the dealership. That's what they want to do for you. So you can either go to Madison Heights, you can go to Shelby Township, you go to Pontiac, or you can visit them online, www.iconauto.com.
The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or bust Lions network.
It is Joey with Woodward Sports, and in 2017, I trusted Dr. Yeldo with my eyes, and it was the best decision I've ever made. No more glasses or contacts, just clear vision every single day.
Hi, I'm Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion. If I had LASIK back in the day, I probably would have won 8 Stanley Cups. So if you're thinking about LASIK, do it now. Tell them, Doc.
Come see me. You have nothing to lose. It's a free consultation.
For a limited time, LASIK only $19.99 per eye. Call Yeldo Eye Center. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you. But please don't wait like I did. Call them now.
It's game on at Art & Jake's. Wings, burgers, pizza, and ice-cold drinks served up with attention to detail. Wall-to-wall TVs, great service, and a vibe that keeps your crew coming back. Art & Jake's, a sports bar setting with a fine dining flavor.
Experience summer in Detroit with pro soccer at Keyworth Stadium. Every Detroit City FC match brings a new reason to show up early and stay late. Tickets available now at DebtCityFC.com.
Make the decision easy on yourself. Don't even look at anything else. Look at the founders and choose the all-day IPA, the leader of the IPA category for the last 15 years, because it's never bitter, it's always refreshing and crisp, and that 4.7% alcohol by volume, it's going to pace you throughout the day. So make the choice founders. Make the choice all-day IPA. But when you make that choice, make sure you drink it responsibly.
Please always remember to drink responsibly as we welcome you back to the second hour of the show here on Woodward Sports. It is the Braylon Edwards Show, and we are here live and loaded. What's going on in the chat, man? Any conversation? They're stoked about anything? They're battling back.
I hear a lot of Berlin. A lot of Berlin in the chat. We got Berlin. Super chat from Michael Weary that I'm going to save.
Do they spell it like Berlin?
I'm seeing Berlin in there.
Okay, because if I'm...
That's not how you spell it, guys.
Exactly.
See, it's Burlyn.
Yeah, I think it's like BUUURLYN. Like that. That feels like Marshawn when he said it.
I feel that.
Hey, Berlin. Because there's
you get on the horn with him?
There's a level of extension on.
We need to follow up with him.
We'll get that. We'll get that. I can't give it to you when you want it. You know what I'm saying? I get it when you least expect it.
Tease.
See, that's how you do it though. But the chat's okay. They're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, we got something from Michael Weary, but we're gonna hold it
because
we are getting into college football later in the show.
We will, but before we do that, odds on
Michigan, baby.
Oh, hey.
Well done there, young Justin. But chat, I need some more from you guys in terms of smashing that like button, sharing the chat, and we need some super chats, man. Drive our show for us.
All right, here we go. Top tiers. These are the what was it, the CBS? These are the rankings for odds-on favorites to win. Before we do that, that's fine. We can start here. So I was going to tell you where we were. The graphic that we had, I think they had the Lions are favorite to win the NFC North plus 170.
So let's see how you stack up against CBS.
Plus
we'll start
170.
with you.
Oh, that's fine. This for me is tier 1. This is tier 2, tier 3, and I threw a tier 4 in there just for Anson and just for fun. Tier 1. Let's start here because I know the first question when people look at it: how did the Eagles magically pop up here? How did the Eagles magically pop up here?
On your list?
Yeah, mine.
And you didn't like the Seahawks a few weeks ago.
They loaded up on defense. They got Tyreek Woolen from the Seahawks. He actually had a pick. I watched some of their like little fall game. They had a little scrimmage. He had a pick 6. They just extended. I mean, their D-line is ferocious. Like, you just can never write them off. Like, they're good enough to be up there.
I was the only one that was picking the Eagles a couple weeks ago when we did our NFC rankings.
I still think the Cowboys, Never mind.
Braylon, so why did you put the Eagles above the Cowboys?
The reason why I put the Eagles above the Cowboys, one, is because of the schedule. And then two, until I see it from the Cowboys during the season, I can't fully subscribe. The Cowboys will Cowboy. The Eagles, for all that we talk about the Rams, for all that we talk about the teams that you believe in, I'm still hard-pressed to find a team that has a better roster than the Eagles. From
defensively,
from top to bottom.
I had them in my playoffs.
So when I'm looking at it that way, defense renewed. You'll be healthy on the offensive line this year.
Great coaching, great franchise.
Landon Dickerson will be back. That is major. Lane Johnson will be back. That is major for the offensive line, which is major for Saquon Barkley. I like the young wide receivers core, if you will. I like Devontae being able to step out on his own. But the biggest thing for me is Sean Mannion, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. If you pay attention to the Eagles, every other year they get it right. Every other year they get a coordinator that rocks with that rocks with
then he becomes a head coach.
100%. And they take off. First it was Shane Steichen, then they had an off year, then it was Kellen Moore, won a Super Bowl, then they had an off year, which is last year. So I feel like this is that on year for the Eagles. I still like the Cowboys a lot, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles. And then the Seahawks, just most disrespected team.
I thought you didn't like them like 3 weeks ago.
But I told you, this is 3 weeks ago.
But I told you.
Now we're getting close.
What changed?
Doing research, doing full.
I thought you liked somebody they added because I never saw it.
This is doing full research. I like Mike McDonald.
You like the Bucs now too.
100% I do.
Who is this guy?
Well, I'm getting closer to the season. You know what the phrase?
Hey, I bet on the Bucs.
You know what the phrase is? The phrase.
You and I've been fighting him on the Bucs for weeks.
I still got the.
So have I.
I still got the Panthers. They're close. I still
the
have
Panthers are going to be trash, in my opinion.
At the end of the day, it's the more information you have. You're right. I do a show with you. I have gotten more information for you. I have watched more information. I have watched.
You are not allowed to change your opinion, Brad.
Agree, but I like the Buccaneers. I like what they had. That defensive front is too real. It's too nasty. It's too.
And there's four teams you just didn't even want to talk about.
Oh,
Atlanta.
Because this is tiers. They don't fall into.
You
a
don't
tier
even
for
give.
me.
You don't even mention the 15.
Not at all. These teams right here are fighting for the playoffs. Those other teams right now for me aren't fighting for the playoffs. So go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room because it ain't the Eagles.
It's the Lions.
And I use ain't.
Yeah, look at that smile on your face putting the Lions in tier 3. I hope you saw that, chat. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I guess the Packers they're certainly a better franchise, so they kind of get the nod there.
So, like, what gives you?
I'd put the Lions in tier 2.
Go ahead.
The Lions should be in tier 2, Brent.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe that. When you look at the Bears and the guys that they've lost, I don't fully believe in the Panthers. 49ers have injuries all over the place. The fact that you have them below the Bucs at this point is wild to me.
I don't believe it's wild, realistically. Like, this is before the season starts. We just had a conversation. I'm trying to figure out who the hell the center is going to be. I'm trying to figure out what the left guard is going to be. I'm trying to figure out what the safeties are going to be because Kirby Joseph is still not in Allen Park right now. Last week he left and it was a family emergency. So there's no Kirby Joseph. There's no Brian Branch. We're assuming that this defensive line that Dan Campbell is now raving about is going to be the end-all, be-all. Jared Goff is going to have to take snaps with somebody that he does not know, which is the same issue we had last year. So the offensive line, we don't know outside of one position, and we're hoping the right guard is going to follow how he finished.
I'm going to push back on you on that a little bit.
Please, somebody.
Where's the pushback?
Well, no,
everybody that you brought in the offseason with the exception of DJ Wonnum is hurt or out or gone or didn't show.
I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm saying our talent-wise, as far as...
But we keep going talent. We had talent last year. We did make the playoffs. And now we bring in a team, the offensive line is teeter-tottering on it could be good or it could be horrible. Like, this is legitimately similar to last year. The safeties. I don't know. You keep trying to tell me about the experience of Chuck and Izzy and Christian Izzian.
I'm not saying Izzian's going to get the job done, no.
We still don't even know who our second starting DB is right now. So when I'm looking at it from that standpoint, there are a lot of questions. Yes, can all these questions be answered? Yeah. All these things could be a moot point. All these things could actually work in the Lions' favor. The Lions could actually win 12. They can win 12 games maybe. But for right now, as we sit, a lot of freaking questions. Dan Campbell just told you that your offensive lineman that's starting may not even be in the room.
Preseason on paper, I only have one team in the tier 1. I mean, that's the Rams.
Right.
Both sides of the ball, they're just absolutely crushing.
Well, I'm not going to disrespect the team that beat the Rams last year twice.
I will disrespect the
Down the
Seahawks
stretch.
for you, my friend. I know that you're alumni, so I don't feel the Seahawks this year. I think that they've got some real issues.
Lost Woolen, lost Walker.
I'm putting them in tier 3. To be quite honest with you, I don't think that
the
you
Seahawks. You taking them?
I'm taking them in tier 3. I'm going to put.
So that's more egregious than me putting the Lions in tier 3.
I'm going Eagles, Cowgirls, Lions, and Bucks. I think that the Packers, the Bears.
I like what the Packers did. Like, realistically, I like the offseason.
I like them a lot, too.
I like Zaire Franklin. I like that they went and got Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, also defensive coordinator when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I love what he is as a defensive coordinator. He doesn't need to be a head coach. Understand that Arizona Cardinals.
I'm putting the Bears, Panthers, and 49ers in tier 4.
God, these tiers.
And I'm pumping the Commanders and the Vikings. Well, no, I don't know about the Commanders.
You can say tiers of trash.
I'm going to bump the Vikings up to tier 3.
What would be your tiers realistically? Because if you take the Carolina Panthers out of there, I don't have a problem with what that tier is. Like, why doesn't the Cowboys deserve to be tier 2? Why don't the Bucks deserve to be tier 2? Who you keep selling me on?
I'll tell you. I think tier 1 deserves to be the Rams and the Eagles. I think that because neither of those teams really have a lot of question marks around their teams. The biggest question mark around the Eagles is their wide receiver room, which in my opinion, I think that they filled very well for losing a guy like A.J. Brown. I'm on Devonta Smith wide receiver 1 season as well. Shout out. And I in tier 2, I got the Seahawks because I still got to tip the cap. You know, I don't know what they're going to be with Walker and Woolen, without Walker and Woolen. So because of that, I have them in tier 2.
Walker didn't go ham last year. Not to cut you off, like everybody.
But Charbonnet's hurt too, Bray.
I get you. That's why they drafted a running back, and Charbonnet will be back. Like legitimately, K9 had 1,000 yards on the dot last year in the regular season because of his playoff run. Everybody looks at it. Oh my God, they lost K9. K9 wasn't doing that when the season happened.
Well, they drafted a backup running back.
Yes.
That is true. They drafted a backup running back, so they're going to start a backup college running back. I'm just saying. Okay. I mean, I think that deserves to be knocking them down to tier 2.
They're a team that can miss the playoffs entirely after winning the Super Bowl.
Their division's really hard.
They could because their division is extremely difficult.
No, there's 2 teams in the division. They're both on there. The 49ers have so many freaking injuries. It does not make any sense. And those players that are healthy are older veteran players that are also coming off injuries.
My tier 2 is the Seahawks and the Cowboys exclusively. Because of the Lions injuries, I'm going to keep them in tier 3. But I think that the list, it deserves to be bumped down a peg. I don't think that there is a light that the Packers or the Bears deserve to be in a higher tier than you. I think that the same with the Buccaneers. And so I have the tier 3 being the Bucks, the Lions, the Bears, and the Packers and the 49ers. I move the Panthers down with the Commanders and the Vikings. Bang, bang, boom, perfect tier list.
Okay.
I would say for me.
Go ahead.
Because I don't necessarily agree with these tiers either.
But that tier, okay. But Justin's tier list is a good one, but it sounds like, how do I say
Well,
that?
I don't agree with both. And
I don't have a problem with it. It just sounds like I don't want to go for it, so I'm just going to, I'm going to scale it.
Well, it's like, I don't know. I view these tiers in a different light. Obviously, you got to tip your cap to the Seahawks. I actually still think they're going to be elite, but I would still bump them down to tier 2. Philly, I'd even bump down to tier 2. I think I'm along with Anson that LA is the most complete. As of right now, on paper, going into the regular season, after the preseason, the Rams are the only one that's complete. So I put them at tier 1. Tier 2, I'm bumping down the Bucks to tier 3. I'm bumping the Lions up to tier 2. I'm bumping the Bears up to tier 2 as well. So the tier 2 will be Packers, Lions, Bears, Cowboys. Tier 3, I got Panthers, Bucks, Niners. Or no, I put Panthers down at tier 4, so it's just Bucks and Niners in tier 3, and then Panthers, Commanders, Vikings. And here's the reason why. I think the Lions overall talent-wise, even regardless of the injuries, way more talent than the Carolina Panthers by far. They're far and away at every position on the offense. We are better than them.
Jonathan Brooks carrying the load.
I would say we have better talent offensively than the 49ers as well. And honestly, even you can make the argument for defense. Their linebacking core is way better than ours. They have a couple their front four is better than ours. But as far as overall talent goes, I feel like we have the upper hand on them. They're also very old and very injured. You are right about that. It's just a talent thing to me. I know the Packers are getting a lot of people back, especially when Micah Parsons will be back. They're elite. Their
in
defense
late October.
will be elite. Well, I mean, yeah, but like the season's so long, that's still technically early. It's not like it's
an 18-week season.
Right, exactly right. And what they're going to get it back in October. That's the second month of the season.
The Packers start and the Packers finish. It favors them. We want to talk about the Lions schedule and what that does. The Packers start, it favors them. And in the end, everybody comes to them at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's
including the Texans, including the Lions, including the Bears.
Yeah.
So they get a run of home games at the end. So I like that part as well. This is also not to win the Super Bowl. This is also just for the NFC tier. This is just to be the heads in the NFC. So look at it that way.
What about CBS? I want to know what they had to say.
They just more so had like the odds.
Well, we have that, right?
How they ranked them. I wrote it down somewhere.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I wrote it down. It was.
We're getting it in there right now.
I'm just kind of curious where the national pundits have not only the Lions, but everybody not named the Rams up on top. I'm curious, like, who are they putting on par with the Rams? I mean, if Aaron Donald is manning the middle in L.A.
Oh, this tier list is just mine. Like I use the odds thing and made it.
There it is.
I got you.
Yeah, I use the NFL odds to win the divisions, and I created my own top tier list. Like you look at it that way, it was Rams, Seahawks, 49. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, baby.
100%. Lions plus 70 schedule.
I think too they're bound for a bounce back. And everyone knows it too. Even Vegas knows it.
Yeah. Vegas knows. I just want to see it. I just want to see it. It's currently constructed.
4 on top. Packers, Bears, Cowgirls.
Yeah.
Seahawks miss.
I mean, it's very realistic. It is realistic.
So who do the Seahawks knock out of those 3 teams between the Cowgirls, the Packers, and the Bears, Bray?
Packers. Or the Bears. Packers or the Bears. Whatever NFC.
I think the Bears are missing the playoffs.
They're ranked ahead of them, right? If you just look at the odds.
You're correct, yeah. But I said those 4 teams, the Packers, Bears, and Cowboys.
I just think we're underestimating what the Seahawks' defense is.
Yeah, their defense.
And I think we're also underestimating what that offense will be now that they come together. Like, don't forget Rashid Shaheed signed during the season.
So
they use him in one way. Hey, go run this deep route after your punt return.
Shaheed.
Like it's some more weapons and things I like on that side of the ball.
AI is telling you something there, guys. They put the Cardinals at 10,000 in gold. No one else. Easy money right there.
Futures
guys.
bet.
They slid those Saints
Jeremiah
up there
Love.
too.
I was just talking about the actual gold print.
Dang, I didn't realize
AI
the
does
Saints
weird stuff. I'm just wondering if they know something.
Hey, I didn't realize the Saints had that low of odds.
You love the Aints.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you
I'm
do.
all over the
You're
Bucs,
Tyler
man.
Shuck guy.
There is one team coming out of that division, and that is Tampa Bay.
Didn't you predict them to beat the Lions?
Anyway,
I said they could give us a run for our money. That was Riley.
I know.
Come on, guys. That is Riley.
Yeah,
Riley is the
Riley.
Saint Slappy.
Riley. That's right.
He's the Saint Slappy, not me.
I've never met a Saint Slappy in Michigan before.
Tyler Shuck. Oh my gosh.
Lions have they're in a lot of top 10s, if you will.
Yes, sir.
They're in another top 10, if you will. The Lions are top 10, actually number 1 in $100 million contracts.
Dang.
I'm just joking. The top contract. The Lions are top 7 in 100. What is it? Out of 100 contracts, they're number 7.
They have 7 of the top 100 contracts.
Which is the most.
Yes.
Is it?
It is the most. I saw that graphic. There it is. Bang.
Bang. How about that timing? The audio-visual squad on point today.
First thing you see, Lions.
Damn.
7.
I don't know.
They have
Rams
7
are that
of
low.
the top contracts in the NFL. So what is the first thing you think about when you think about that?
Laporta makes 8. That's the first thing.
What about you?
I feel like.
What about you?
I've never seen this before. But my entire life, the city of Detroit always shipping out their best player.
Super fair, bro.
I have never
Well
seen
said.
in my 23 years on this planet, and at least over 20 years paying attention to this team, maybe 19, 18, have never seen that before. We're always at the very bottom.
On any team.
On any, that could go for
sports
Tigers,
team.
Red
Well,
Wings.
no. Red Wings during the non-salary cap, they
Well, I didn't see
dominated that. Yeah, you weren't around for that. But then once they took that away, we haven't done anything since.
Right.
This is salary cap era.
First thought
Lions.
you think of, Jen?
Wow.
Yeah.
First
Insane.
thought that I think of Braylon Edwards is wow, honestly, because I'm on the BUED side, man. I see people getting shipped out of here all the damn time. To be able to retain all of our stars, over
great.
and over again. My concern on this list, however, is Let's look at the last couple Super Bowl champions or people that have made it to the Super Bowl. We got
Rams,
Kansas City, number 3. Seahawks, number
Packers.
4, who let 2 of their big money players walk this offseason after winning
4.
the Super Bowl. Denver, who was in the AFC Championship last game, only has 5. Patriots only have 2. They were in the AFC Championship game last year. It's just, I mean,
shout out to the Bills.
Tough spot for the Lions to be able to work out of, but at the same time, you got all this talent, you got to capitalize on it.
The Bills, man.
So the first question I would have is, did we spend too much too fast? And the second question, which is not a question, is actually what I think. Lions don't have a choice but to win this year.
Yeah, it's
like when I say win,
Super Bowl or bust.
I'm not going to say Super Bowl and bust because I don't trust this team into being a playoff team. But this team,
have to win a playoff
this team legitimately has to get to the second round of the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
And dare I say win the division. You're talking about 7 on this list. Like fair is unfair or whatever it is.
I don't need the division.
7 guys.
I need a playoff win too, Bray. I don't need the division.
It is, but it has to happen. That was the same thing last year, but it didn't happen.
Look what happened to the 15-2 Lions. Look what happened to the 60-22 Pistons. These guys spent everything in the regular season to get that best record. And the fact is you don't have to do that. I'm saying the Lions when they went 15-2, I felt like they put so much out during the regular season that you don't have to win the division. You don't have to have the 1 seed to get home.
Ask the Rams about that.
Ask the Seahawks about it.
Yeah, because the Seahawks had the number 1 seed because
They
they
had the
beat the
1
Rams.
seed?
Yes,
They
they beat the Rams.
Oh, I thought they were
And
the
then
2
guess
seed.
what happened in the playoffs? The Rams had to go to
I'll give you that
Seattle.
one. I'll give you that one. I just really think that
Wait, that's how the 1 seed works?
Look at Green Bay and Chicago
The North
last year.
Division, though, I think that it's going to be another blender, absolutely, this year. And I think that the Lions can come out with double-digit wins, not win the division, and have a great playoff run. They have to win 1 game to get out of the first round.
This is true, but you don't want to be that first team that has to go on the road.
So you said they got to be out of the first round. If they're that number 1 seed and they're in the second round, does that satisfy you, or do they have to win a playoff game?
They did that already, and what did it do for everybody? Everybody around here is pissed.
Everyone pissed off.
Everybody is still talking about why did we start David Montgomery? What happened to our offensive line? What happened to our quarterback? What happened to the skeleton of a defense we had? What happened to that? We spent the whole offseason talking about it, but then what happened was, well, they went 15-2. We'll let it slide because they've been doing so good, and then we went 9-8. You look at this speaks volumes.
Why you gotta hold people accountable, Braylon?
Gotta hold them accountable, man. Speaking of holding everybody accountable, let me tell you about Gold Crown, if you will.
Let me tell you about him, Braylon.
I got excited.
Hey, you should get excited when it comes to Gold Crown because they are royalty in the weed game. That's right, the Royal Jesters, baby. 1.5 grams total, coated and keep live resin infused. And listen, I also got a chance to try their dabs. They are top of the line. They've been smoking for longer than I've been able to, so make sure you tap in with Royal as royalty with Gold Crown Jesters today. GoldCrownExtracts.com at every dispensary ever, I swear. Not everywhere, but almost everywhere that I've ever been to. So tap in with Gold Crown today.
The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or bust Lions network.
Some days call for light, others lean bold. What about everything in between? All Day IPA, the easy choice for every day. Citrusy, crisp, refreshing. Flavor you can float with. Light on the hops, big on refreshment. 1's great. 2, even better. Brewed with you in mind. No shortcuts, no fuss. Big on flavor, never too much. All Day IPA. Hop into easy.
You're building a whole combat sports enterprise in the heart of it in Detroit, and that's what I think is the coolest.
I think with opportunity, right? Like you said, maybe you like to punch people in the face for real, and you know, you want to be a boxer, and you have an option there. Maybe you don't like getting punched in the face, and you want to make, you know, you like the theatricals and the storylines, and so you have an avenue here. Maybe you start at one and then want to change to the other. I don't care. I just want you in the building and know that you have some place to go to explore that. Just having the ability to, what do you want to do and how do you want to do it to the best of your ability? And, you know, it all starts with the kids.
Water Hazard is the very first canned vodka cocktail from Founders. Get $5 cans at any Art & Jake's location in Michigan on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. But it's a vodka-based cocktail with 5% ABV that's citrusy, refreshing, and gluten-free. But remember to always drink responsibly.
What a pairing. What a pairing, guys. Get on over to Loom. They got 40 locations throughout this great state of Michigan. And we want to be your plug here at Woodward Sports. We want to save you 30% off of your entire order. You can use the QR code above my head or go to loom.com, and when you do that, punch in that WSN30 when you are checking out. And you'll get exactly that, 30% off of your entire order. But Loom wants to hook you up as well. Your first time, they're really going to hook it up. Your first 3 times, you're getting free gifts. What's better than free, guys? Check them out at loom.com.
And make sure you ask for MJ. We
That's
show
right.
a lot of
He's
love.
great, dude.
Welcome back to the show. Still talking Detroit Lions. We talked about the talent. We talked about 7 of the top 100 contracts in the NFL belong to the Detroit Lions, maybe for the first time ever. Speaking of some of that talent, you know everybody does the top 100. Well, the NFL is into the top 100, and Lions have a player in there. No need to guess who it is. He's the guy that got the bag this season, 75.5 to be exact. It is none other than Sonic or Jahmyr Gibbs. Is this a fair ranking for Jahmyr? You believe?
Yes. That's very fair.
I feel like whenever there's a Lion ranking, whether it's a player, whether it's a side of the ball, whether it's a position, it's always the next question is this fair? Jahmyr Gibbs at 9.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on Friday, Braylon, when it was announced that he was going to be in the top 10, and we actually had him at 8.
We did.
So I think that this is extremely fair. I'm not, honestly just glad that he got the recognition of being in the top 10. And, you know, I think that when you look at the whole list of players in the whole top 100, you're just, you know, glad to have a lot of Lions that get recognized on this list by the players, because we do have some very special guys on this team.
Maybe you could print this thing out and turn it into a blanket, and you could cuddle up with it, and you could feel better about it at night. Is this just offense? Because I'm sorry.
No,
but are you kidding me with 9? If you're a top 10 player in the league, you don't have a month to finish the season that Jahmyr Gibbs had last year. I hope it's extra fluffy, Justin. You tuck yourself in. Pops would come in there and set that ball you caught right next to you. Maybe even under your pillow. Maybe the Tooth Fairy bring you some money, too. 9? Are you all crazy?
I'm confused.
Hey, 9 as in double the touchdowns and 18 in the season that he had the 18 touchdowns, or as in the 1,800 yards that he had, Anson? You mean that type of season where he was top 3 in both categories? You want to talk about that, Anson?
I could come up with 9 defenders that are better and more impactful and important to their team. I mean, Penei Sewell better be ahead of him on this list, right?
It's a good thing.
Penei Sewell's ahead of him on this list, right?
Nope.
Oh, my good God. Oh, my good God.
Yeah.
Tuck yourself in with that cozy blanket, but I hope it makes you feel better.
But it's
Go
voted
get your jersey. Actually, hit up Mike Reed when he's here next week. Maybe get it from him.
Voted on by the players.
Yes.
I get it. They excited to watch him. I mean, yeah, he makes the money. He just got paid. He's super fast. He's Sonic. Look at all the rings he got. The fake digital ones, you know, because he doesn't have a ring, man. And he didn't change the season. He didn't put us over the top in the month we needed to beat the Steelers or Max Brosmer. He disappeared. And I'm sure that they love him. He's a great guy, and I can't wait to talk manga with him. I can't wait to talk anime. Let's go. We'll talk about One Piece, buddy. But the fact of the matter is this guy's not there yet. And I know you all think he is, just like you thought J-Mo was going to be a 1,500-yard receiver last year, because that makes you feel so cozy. But come on, guys. Like Myles Garrett, I know he better be sitting at 1 on here. I mean, we could go through. There's 10 players more impactful and better in the NFL than this kid at this point in his career.
Okay, let's play this game because you've said it twice. Name them. Because realistically, when you say Penei Sewell, which I think Penei Sewell is either 1 or 2 offensive line in terms of best offensive line in the league, he was that last year and the Lions didn't make the playoffs. Because as good as he is as an offensive lineman, which was always my counteractive to who should have got drafted in 2020, I felt like Micah Parsons as a defensive end outside linebacker could create more chaos in the game than an offensive lineman. Not having that debate right now, just telling you where my stance was and why. Jahmyr Gibbs, in terms of what he can do and the athlete that he is, the player that he is, it's not his fault Christian Morton was the doggone offensive coordinator last year. Blame Dan Campbell for that. Jahmyr Gibbs
top 10 players overcome that kind of stuff, right?
He
had a great season. He had a great season. Don't get me wrong.
What about your boy Jay Jettis?
So name me the 10 that are better then. You said 10 defensive players.
I will bring you that list tomorrow.
And all those players better have been in the playoffs, and they better have been fighting for the NFC or AFC championship. They better have been in the Super Bowl.
Sure.
And they better not have been on teams where they had by committee, like the Eagles.
So there's a certain defensive tackle that you tell me you'd still take in that draft over him. Is he in the top 10?
Jalen Carter wasn't better than Jahmyr Gibbs last season. Look at the stats.
But you told me you'd draft him over Jahmyr Gibbs still.
I would. This isn't about what I would do. Okay, this is who are the best 10 players from last season. But it's who are the best 10 players from last season. Jalen Carter had a down year.
2026 rank.
This is based off of 2025.
And what you hope for in this year.
Exactly.
Then what? Why are you telling me that you would draft this guy over that guy, but this guy's ranked higher than him?
Parsons got hurt after the year is ranked at 8, by the way.
His 2026 rank, because we expect him to be that.
But at the end of the day, Parsons is going to miss 5 games.
But we just stacked up 4 defenders that I think are better.
No, you didn't.
Real quick.
Like one guy's out. He missed half the season last year, and he's missing the first 5 games.
You can't still got ranked by the players ahead of him because he is more impactful when he's healthy.
Right. You're just mad at the list. So
I'm not mad at the list. I love the fact that we got a guy in the top 10. I don't think it's justified. Listen, man, I
don't have a problem with
Sean Belizier tells me that I would be excited if the Spartans cheated and won a championship. You know that's not me. I'm an honest guy. Right. I don't think he's 9. Is he top 20? Sure.
I don't have a problem with what you're saying until you say there are 10 more better, and then you can't describe them. You said you gave me 1. I gave
you 4.
You gave me 2. You said Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, a guy that you would draft over this guy. Myles Garrett, there's 3. I mean, bro,
Myles Garrett is ahead of him. So what are we talking about?
As he should be.
I agree. He's number 1.
And so is Pat Surtain. He's also above him.
There you go, man. We're stacking all these. So
these are all above him on the list.
It's already ranked. But it's already ranked.
Sewell's not above him.
Unfortunately,
Jamar Chase is not better than him.
Yes,
There's no quarterbacks better than him.
He's 9.
I'm sorry. There's too many people above him.
Everybody you named is ahead
I have
of him.
your list for you tomorrow. I'm not going to stop everything I'm doing and be like, okay.
You are stopping everything because you're still talking about it.
No, because you're mad that I don't agree.
I'm not mad.
And you guys are mad.
No one's
He needs his blanket over there.
No one's
mad.
Who's
mad?
Well, you are because you're mad that I'm ranking him. I'm not mad about this. I'm stating facts that I believe.
Anson, I simply asked the question. It doesn't mean I'm mad. I simply said if you're going to say he's not worthy of 9, then who should be hit? Then you said 10 more.
You want me to stop the show and go into my computer and put together a list and weigh some people out. I didn't do that beforehand.
Anson, we do a sports show. We can't just say shit like, oh, there are 10 people better. You can't say that and have not. You cannot say something like that and not have something prepared. If you're gonna say something crazy, maybe you temper.
You say you sound mad because you call me crazy.
Because you're
call me crazy. There you go. I'll have your list for you tomorrow, bro. You want to put me on the spot right there? I dropped some names.
You don't want to start yelling before we even start talking.
I always yell. I'm loud as hell. Talk to Cam.
Sometimes it's annoying.
Levels. I'm over here playing. I don't even know. like whack-a-mole. I'm over here freaking.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you just can't say there's 10 defensive players better than the player that's 9 and then not be able to name them. You said Myles Garrett, he's on there. You said Patrick Surtain, he's on there. You said Micah Parsons, he can be on there. Realistically, he still missed 7 games last year and he's going to miss 5 this year, but fine, he could be on there. You said Jalen Carter. I still would take Jalen Carter because that's the player that I like. But Jalen Carter's season last year was not better than Jahmyr Gibbs. The impact that Jalen Carter has on that defense is not bigger than the impact that Jahmyr Gibbs had last year for this team and is going to have this year for this team. That's my thoughts. So,
Kool-Aid and what do they call them? Cornbread biscuits are hot and cold in this spot today. You guys got your 9, though. You guys got your buddy in the top 10, man. Shout out.
Fired up, baby.
No, we didn't do anything. That's the player's opinion, buddy.
I get it, man, because offense is sexy.
Yeah, it is.
Speed is sexy.
Defense is sexy, too. Give me the right defensive players, though. Just give me the right defensive players.
Fred Warner.
Not better than Jahmyr Gibbs last year.
Exactly.
Miles. Oh, we already touched Miles Garrett.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's only a couple guys.
Exactly. Think about it. Keep going.
Me and Braylon looked at the list on Friday. It is very fair.
Oh, you
where
looked
they
at
have
the top
Jahmyr
10?
Gibbs. Yes.
Who was ahead of him?
You have him above Penei
Josh
Sewell
Allen?
is fair.
In a list that
I actually
favors a
don't.
little sexiness, yeah, it
I
is
don't.
fair because
Okay, so now you're admitting that you prefer the sexy over reality.
I'm not saying that I prefer it. I'm just saying on a list that does it because I'm not going to lie, most players who are voting on this list, like offensive lineman is the last thing they think about, and you have to be a elite ball knower to say Penei Sewell on this list. Everyone, like you said, is sitting there watching Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's that's part of it.
There's never been an offensive lineman in the top 10 except maybe Trent Richardson in the last 10 to 15 years. And the reason so is because offensive line, they win by a whole. They win by all 5. That's how they track them. They win by all 5. So unless you're Orlando Pace, who didn't give up a sack for 4 seasons in a row with the St. Louis Rams and only gave up 3 in his whole freaking career, you're not going to be in the top 10. It's not my list. It wasn't created by me. It was created by the NFL Network and the players, and here we are. So anyway, let's take a quick commercial break. Let's get a message in from Art and Jake and come back up and get into some college freaking football. Art and Jake's, it is the place. 80 TVs, wall to wall. Beers on tap as well. 22 beers to be exact. Check them out on the mobile app though. A&J mobile app. Scan the QR code right there. Telling you, you come in, it's football season. This is the place to impact the vibe. It's going to be real. The menu is dope, and so are the people. The service is real, and they're all around the state. Pull up to an A&J near you.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith. New focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about Amnesia's brand new product and their star-studded lineup. That's right, the Bubble Hash glass tip blunt has been added to their electric lineup of the glass tip joint and the switch. As always, 3 flavors or 2 flavors, 3 ways to enjoy it with the sativa, the hybrid, and the indica setting. And let me tell you, all 3 of them are absolutely fantastic with smooth finishes, and they are fantastic. They are rapidly growing, and they are available at your local dispensary. A smoother way to stand out. That is Amnesia.
And we are back. College football is also right around the corner. B-Lad, I know you're doing a quick sense. You may have a college football segment, a question or two?
Yeah, a little college football quick slants action here since this is week 0.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Shout out to my boys at LTU. They played this weekend against Valparaiso on the road. Oh, yeah, a little D1 action there. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do. But, Bray, I actually have something to do with where you played ball at. And that is the University of Michigan. And there was a thing
you skipped over 0 week. I knew that was a Bill Belichick question. I was like, was this a Belichick question?
This could potentially get to that. But we do have an interesting topic that was thrown into the sheet. The University of Michigan is now adding logos to the end zones of their stadium on the padding along the walls. We have the picture there for you right there. Michigan, knowing to be one of the more traditional colleges in college football, how do you feel about this? This is the new era of college sports here, and we're seeing patches on the jerseys. We're seeing stuff on the helmets. We're obviously Michigan's very traditional. I would be very surprised if they changed something on the uniform or the helmet or something like that. But, as far as ads go, are we going to be seeing this more? What's your take on this? How do you feel about this as being one that played there?
When you got Ohio State spending $37 million on a roster, it just is what it is. This is what college football is. You got to put dollars in your pocket. You got to be able to afford a competitive roster so that you can give yourself a chance to be in that top 12 and figure it out. This is what it is. Do I like it? It doesn't have the same look. It doesn't have the same feel.
Sure.
But it's still the same helmet. It's still the same stadium. It's still the same crowd. So not the biggest fan, but this is where we're at. You already know the story. Ohio State, what do? They're putting Chase Bank on their jerseys. Yeah. This is now NASCAR. You want dollars, you want money, you want to raise that cap, if you will. You got to be able to dive into the sponsors. Sponsors, they give money. Money gets roster. That's all it is right now, Anson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pay for NIL somehow, man.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing is you even see the whole Big 12 has the Monster patch.
Monster Energy.
Yeah, Monster Energy patch on their jerseys. Every
20
single
mil
one.
for the
I'd
whole
rather see it
conference.
all over the stadium than on the jerseys.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
You start looking like FIFA and overseas, small clubs just littered with sponsors and patches on the back. I really don't like that. I hated seeing it in the NBA this last year. I think we're only going to see more of that. You watch Euro basketball, there's 6 sponsors on every jersey. I don't mind it in the stadium because I'm not staring at the stadium walls.
True.
I'm watching a game.
There you go. Yeah.
Also, too, those areas. Those areas right there that they have marked off, you all know who's in those spots. Recruits, cameraman, photographers, people. Those get blocked
people are
off.
standing in front of them anyway.
Yeah, 1,000%. They get blocked off a lot. So, this is, you got to pay to play.
Absolutely
that is the
right.
word. You have to pay to play, and this is a version of, teams paying and us playing.
No doubt about that.
Sponsorship teams.
I actually do have an NFL one here. This is something that.
No, go to the Northwestern one. I already have it.
Okay. We have some Northwestern football. It's a Big Ten. It actually has to do something with.
I thought that was Washington.
It does kind of look like Washington's uniforms. Northwestern has named Aiden Childs, former Michigan State their starting quarterback, and will debut for the Wildcats against South Dakota State on September 5th. What do we think here? Because his play caller is actually an NFL experience in Chip Kelly. We know he likes his dual threat quarterbacks. Yeah. Do we see Aiden Childs take a leap here? Because he did show some flashes at Michigan State of him, actually being able to escape the pocket. I know he missed some pretty crucial throws here and then and threw a lot of picks, but this could be something. And I know Northwestern has been pouring a lot of money into their organization now, and some people are even calling them to be the next Indiana.
The only endowment near Ann Arbor in the entire conference. They have the money.
Yeah.
Honestly, if the kid can handle the curriculum, he'll be able to be good over there because he's going to be everything that they have. So it'll be interesting to see what he can come up with. I do think that he's got some skill.
Yeah, I think it'll be behind the curriculum because, I don't even believe in college curriculum anymore. I believe once you start paying players.
Even at Northwestern?
Northwestern still has football, realistically. And if we want to play it that way, then he got in. I don't think you would go to a school that you don't necessarily handle.
Well, I think he's a smart guy.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, that's a big change from going. It's not going from Ann Arbor to Northwestern, going from State.
This is fair.
It's true.
Speaking of Michigan State, I don't think he ever had a consistent kind of like the Bryce Young situation last year. Bryce Underwood, excuse me. Yes. I don't think he ever had a consistent coordinator. I don't think he ever had a consistent quarterbacks coach. I don't think he ever had guidance and tutelage at that position. I think it was kind of him, some wonky offensive coordinators in there, and him trying to figure it out. I think this gives him a better level of, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is how you prepare. This is how you condition. This is how you read. This is what it looks like. So he won't have the same talent, but I think for him, it can help him out in the maturation process of being a quarterback.
Yeah. The coaching staff over there was definitely inconsistent. We saw that it was a very rough transition out of the Mel Tucker era into the Jonathan Smith era, and obviously him playing under Jonathan Smith and coming over to the Midwest, I'm sure that wasn't a easy transition for him either. But yes, to your point, I do think him actually playing underneath a coach with experience in the league and in college football as Chip Kelly, and he likes his dual threat quarterbacks, that he actually might have a chance to actually do pretty good over there. I actually am kind of high on Northwestern this year, and I know we'll get into that at a later time. But I could definitely see them making big leaps forward, like how Indiana did, especially if they put the money in the right places. Like you'll just see a team like this just come out of nowhere and get hot all of a sudden.
Is Northwestern still building that state-of-the-art stadium off the water?
Their practice facilities on the water.
It's going to be done. It's going to be done this year.
So they're still going, all right. Because when I first saw that, I think they were building it off the hills of what Pat Fitzgerald was doing and them kind of believing in the program. But I still was like, it's Northwestern. You're going to put the stadium on the water, but I digress.
It is a big like prestigious school too. I mean, their practice facility is beautiful.
I'm
right
not
on the
knocking
water
the
right
money and the prestige. I'm talking about the actual football play.
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing that they have been struggling on, those
Friday,
Under Armour
October
uniforms.
2nd, it opens this for their Big Ten opener against Penn State.
Ooh.
7 p.m.
That'd actually be a pretty sweet game, I bet. Yeah. That would be sweet.
That's the one thing about living in Detroit, man. Like, a lot of things are accessible. Like, that wouldn't be a bad game to go to. Like, if you were just a fan of the game, or if you was a Penn State fan and lived in the area, like, that wouldn't be a bad game. Go to Chicago, catch the city, if you will, and then go to that game.
No doubt about it.
Not bad.
I'm going to have to go down to that new stadium. I've heard great things about it.
So, I do have we're going to segue into the NFL. One quick little NFL segment. But we were talking about not too long ago how I could buy a round-trip flight to Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, purchase a ticket there, and it would still be less expensive than going to Ford Field to watch the Lions play a home game. It would actually be less. It would be more economical for me to actually do that. Now we have the list of the most expensive tickets by average on the season. It's also behind you as well on the big screen if you wanted to take a better look at that. But the Bills at $610 average for a ticket price is actually unreal. I can't even. I guarantee you the weight of that gets held down by week 2 against the Lions.
Well, you got to pay for Highmark Stadium some way.
True, with the
you
terrible
have to pay for that stadium and how they set up for the fans, et cetera. Because they didn't get a state grant, did they, Anson, to build that stadium?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
That's the thing is, like, this has become an ongoing issue. It feels like franchises are pushing their real fans out. Like, this is something that you genuinely have to, like, put money aside now to go out and watch this team, because it's not just the ticket. You're more than likely going with another person or a group of people, and then obviously all of your stuff that you buy at the stadium, whether that's drinks, food, whatever. You're looking at upwards towards like a $2,000.
Sports aren't for common folk anymore.
It's unbelievable.
That's what your streaming is for.
I know.
Common folk get the streaming that they got to pay $40 a month for.
I just miss regular cable.
It's also like blue collar towns, man. With the exception of Philly and even Chicago is a big city, but still a blue collar town. You got the Bills, you got Detroit, you got Green Bay, you got I guess
really only two. Well, I guess 3 cities that aren't pretty blue collar there. In Vegas, Frisco, and the Chickens.
Like during my college career, I've been to more Lions games than I have been my entire life, and I'm not saying I spent my money wisely, because I didn't at all. I was just spending it like I was rich, and I was literally like working at my gym trying to get money to go to these games and scraping up like a couple $100 to go to these games. I got a good bargain on a couple of my tickets, but still, you can look around, and it wasn't as, I don't know. I've been to games in the past, and it's where you can't even walk and move around, and you're literally shoulder to shoulder. I've been to a couple games like that, but this past year, it didn't feel like that at all. I actually saw, when I went to Paycor Field in Cincinnati, more Lions fans there. Because even when I saw the tickets to go to Paycor, they were way more affordable than Ford Field was. I don't know. I think this is just a really ongoing greed issue that we have with all the owners here in the NFL, and I thought something was going to be done about this, but it just keeps getting worse and worse by the book. I wouldn't even.
Newsflash, it won't get better.
No,
and the reason why it won't get better, one, money
point.
goes up every year. Two, you expect you expect the Lions to be a better team this year, correct?
That's true.
We expect them to go farther.
The law of supply
that
and
takes
demand.
the money up, and you also know what comes next. Probably not a new arena, and probably not a new stadium. So what does that mean? That means upgrades. That means add-ons. That means remodeling. You know what remodeling costs? It costs money.
Yep, exactly.
So these tickets are going to go up every single year for the foreseeable future.
And the Lions.
But that's what you wanted, though. You wanted a winning ball club. You wanted a team that was in it. Unfortunately for the common man and the regular fan, this comes with it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
20s are a real bitch, man, financially.
They are.
And I don't mean your 20s. I mean the 20s.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. But, yeah, that's all I have for Quick Slants today. Tune in every time we do the Braylon Edwards Show for more of B-Lad's Quick Slants. Shout out to the boys at L2.
Shout out to B-Lad.
Let's go.
1,000%. All right,
Yes, sir.
We will do a read and just come straight back to it. I'll tell you a little bit about Planet Fitness, and we'll wrap the show. Planet Fitness, where fitness is essential. 2,700 gyms around this country. That means it is the gym for you. That means they're doing things right. That means every time you look up, there are more gyms because there is no judgment, because there are trainers on staff, because they keep their gym clean. In fact, squeaky clean. Pull up. They got the trainers for you. Home of the judgment-free zone. This is the place, and this is the energy that I want to be around. You should too. We're all strong on this planet, and that planet is Planet Fitness. Estate Title Agency. My boy Nabi Side. Shout out to Nabi. Nabi, a great guy, but it's not about who he is as a person. It's about what he can do for you. You're trying to refinance. You're trying to buy or a mortgage. This is the place to do it at, man. This is the place to get a home at. This is the place to refinance your mortgage. It's because they got 20 years of experience in the game. They know what they are doing. His level of expertise is great, but then also they make the process about you. It's simple. It's convenient. Late night closings, weekend closings, they do it all. By appointment only. For all your title needs, call Mr. Deeds.
And for all your weed needs, tap in with Mad Packs, the Boom Shakalaka gummies, the hash rosin. They are fantastic. Blue raspberries lushy and the raspberries lushy are both fantastic. Take it from me. I enjoyed my weekend with them. They're available at retailers near you. There's also the high-low pre-rolls as well, 1.3 grams. And the Boom Shakalaka aren't bad either, 1.5 grams. Both live resin and infused as well. So make sure you tap in with Mad Packs. They smoke and real, and so mad flavor, mad high, Mad Packs. Now back to the desk.
And we are back. You before I get to the answer real quick, you talked about Jahmyr Chase. Actually, we both did. How was his injury yesterday? Because you had that in your quick slants show, and we didn't get a chance to get to it because of some of those interviews. Is he out for a suspended period of time?
So I don't think they said it was as significant as they thought. Okay. When I looked at the injury, it actually did not look good at all. I watched the play on Twitter.
Hyperextension at the least.
It did look ugly, and I've been in that situation before, and I know how that feels for sure. But I don't think they said it was anything too major. But they're definitely going to obviously hold him out and not, play or practice him for the rest of the remainder of camp. I actually was looking for Rap Sheet or Adam Schefter this morning to see if they had an update, but I didn't see anything.
Yeah, Cincinnati playing things close to the best as I would.
He's saying just a little tweak. I feel fine. I feel good. Speaking on his hyperextension at practice.
I knew it had to be.
It looked ugly. Yeah. Like when he came down, it looked ugly. You see Jake Bobo did the same thing. They actually had the Hard Knocks live in full effect. Like they even had his reaction on the ground and stuff. Anson just watched it. I know, that looked horrible.
Whenever you out ACL, MCL, PCL, that hurt.
Yeah. Whenever you watch a injury and you've had a similar injury, your body reacts in kind.
I literally got lightheaded.
Pins and everything, man.
Goosebumps.
I got lightheaded watching Jake Bobo's, his reaction. That's when I watched it at work, and I'm like, all right, I got to put that down.
When I saw Micah Parsons last year, that's exactly how mine happened. I was
I know.
Jumped off the couch.
Horrible.
And to take us through the super chats as well.
We got some super chats to finish up here, guys. Talking straight to you, actually. Dante151, I'll get this one out of the way, says, let's go North Carolina and Chapel Bill.
Hey, I'm trying to see what that looks like, man.
Off Hoodie Bill.
See what he did there.
I want to see. I like that. I want to see what they are this year. The biggest thing for Bill Belichick is the same thing when Tom Brady walked out of the door. What is your offense going to be like? His issue was never defense. In fact, UNC's defense actually was good last year. Dare I say, their defense wasn't bad. In fact, they had the best defense they had in, I want to say, 30 years, but on the offensive side of the ball. But watch that new quarterback they have, because his last name might be the same as mine.
Shout out to Dante151 again. He was the one that let us know that Parsons is ranked at 8th. And we got a couple questions directed right to you. We'll start off with Michael Wary. Shout out to our like police. If you guys haven't hit that like button, you got a few more minutes to do that. Please do chat. What is the chance that we can get a Paul Bunyan this year, Bray?
I think we're good. I think. Oh, in terms of to pass out to the chat.
No, I think he was just talking about beating State. So.
But I will say this: it's gonna be interesting because Pat Fitzgerald provides a level of understanding. He provides a level of understanding the Big Ten. He knows how to motivate men.
And you've got that game circled, unlike you guys.
Well, 100%, because he understands this is his way back to wherever he wants to be. Pat Fitzgerald was on the trajectory, and before everything happened at Northwestern, he's trying to get back on that trajectory. And I don't think this will be a long-term play for him, more along the lines of 4 years. He's coming to cook with some grease.
He wants the SEC, huh?
Yeah, I don't think he's effing around. So okay. I think that game
seems like he's doing good.
I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, realistically.
Yeah. I'm loving the early stuff we're seeing out of the meetings and things in East Lansing. He's the type of man we needed.
Yeah. You can have a hard-fought game and still lose by 12. But I think that's going to be a hard-fought game, and Michigan to do what they do in the fourth quarter. But
especially with the disrespect they're putting on all the spreads for the games. If you can cover those, but actually hang in there, because Michigan State's not highly touted this year. Until they start putting the money in the right spots, then once they adapt, then we can start talking about it. I do like Fitzgerald.
They took the steps, though. I will give Michigan State credit because we've cracked jokes in the past 4 or 5 years as it relates to when I was working with Ryan Armani right here on this show. But one of the biggest things that we talked about is the consistency. Show me a plan. When you show me a real plan, then I can start to believe a little bit. You hired an AD. You hired a president. You now have a head coach that understands ball. And he especially understands his conference. See, those are wins.
He does understand the conference. Wins. And that's not something you see a lot. You see when they hire it's from the Mountain West or something, giving the guy his shot. And I really do like the makeup for him in East Lansing. But final super chat here from Luke Sorry. Braylon, would you rather have one catch versus MSU, but it is an overtime winner, or you get 8 catches for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns versus OSU, but it's not a guaranteed win?
Oh, man, give me that win against Michigan State. What are you talking about?
Wins a win.
It's still a rivalry.
Wins a win, baby.
And you're talking about an overtime catch to win the game, against the rival. I don't care what they're still our rival. That's how I always look at Michigan State, still the rival. So give me that. Although I really wanted to say them 3 touchdowns, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, you had those games, man. It's about winning the rivalry.
100%. Feel like we won today. Good work out of you guys, man.
Sir.
Appreciate everybody. Appreciate your engagement in the chat as well. Look, Justin just doing his thing. He's on to the next. He's got the Woodward wings cooking over there in the background. He's working on something.
Doing something.
Always working.
And Derek Moore did not practice today.
Makes sense. They played a heavier amount of snaps this past Saturday.
True.
And then they also had a scrimmage.
That must mean they're starters.
Ooh.
I don't think so.
Nah.
One of them.
But once again, this is the defensive
One of
room.
them
You know what that means? That's Dan Campbell's conversation. Liking this defensive room, liking this defensive line. I think this is him protecting some players. Hey, look, you sit out today, you relax. We're going to need you down the stretch. Let's get some of these other defensive line guys in here, whether it's Mekhi Wingo, whether it's Peyton Turner. Let's get these guys in to see what they can be. You guys take a day off.
True.
So, shout out Dan. We give you credit and we appreciate that, man. For Anson Wells.
Nobody hates a day off.
You said what?
Nobody hates a day off.
Nah.
In that game, I bet.
Sweet Potato Cam and Juice and Double D in the background. We are
Shout out Kool-Aid.
Show. We'll see you mañana.